Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
How we doing? It is a Friday. It's not a football Friday, but a Friday nonetheless. And the weekend is in front of us. Some will be like, yeah, it's no different than during the week. I'm working. That maybe some response. Charlie, using my producer, working his other job, I'm assuming.
Yep, tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. It's going to be fun. I'm only closing tonight, though, so
why don't you just pull a Tommy Wirtz, bring a couch in, and just sleep in the back office?
We used to have a couch there, and then they got rid of it. Yeah, too many people. One person got caught sleeping like during their shift, like for 2 hours, just disappeared for 2 hours, so then they got rid of the couch.
It's not good. Not good if you want to keep the couch there. No question about that. Coming up on today's show, Corey Knebel, former Brewers closer, part of Brewer Territory, him and Kurt Hogue with their brand new show that they have out, part of Foul Territory TV. Corey Knebel joins us again coming up here in about 20 minutes. Looking forward to talking to him. Green and Gold update, as always, coming up at 4 o'clock, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Some interesting reports out there about Rasheed Walker we're going to dive into coming up at 4 o'clock. Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Havish, and Rotier at 4:20. If you want to nominate somebody to be quiet, quit talking, keep getting yourself in trouble, keep saying dumb things. If that's somebody you want to nominate, you can do so. Just use the text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. And then Charlie can go back and find whether it's an audio from one of the hosts on the station or a TV personality, radio personality, whatever the case may be. Feel free to do that. We had one nomination earlier this week. There's no sound to it, but I understood why they made the nomination.
A lot of people have been nominating that one. Just
really?
Not on our show, but overall in life.
Yeah.
People have been nominating.
In life, yeah. So we'll get to that coming up at 4:20. Follow the money, normally with Austin Herdenia. Waiting to find out if we're going to have Austin Herdenia or not, but that's at 4:40. Brought to you by, of course, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Big news in the world of Potawatomi. So we'll get to that. And then things Sparky missed, brought to you by the Admirals to wrap up the show at the very end. So that wraps up everything going on here on a Friday. Not going to have too intense topics or anything like that. It's going to be one of those days where you can kick back, relax, and enjoy the show today. So lots of reaction to the Pat Murphy extension that came out yesterday for the Milwaukee Brewers. 2-year, that's really a brand new contract more than it's an extension. 2-year contract with a club option for the 3rd year. So he's got this year, the last year of his deal. Then the new deal starts. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed by what they gave him. I mean, that the report is now again. Have I seen Pat Murphy's contract? No. Have anybody at the Brewers shown me Pat Murphy's contract? No. Right? Just to clarify. But they are saying, according to Jeff Passan, I believe it was, that the new money is just short of $9 million. So now we're talking about what? $4.5 million, somewhere in that area. If you go back to the trader before he left, the report was that the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers offered him $5.5 million. That would have made him the highest paid manager in baseball at that time at $5.5 million. Then David Stearns and the Mets, according to reports, offered the trader $7 million. And then came the Cubs calling, and according to reports, the trader said, well, if I'm going to come to you, I have to be able to justify it with money. So you're going to have to give me $1 million more a year, because I did say I was going to play the martyr in all of this and sacrifice myself for the good of all managers coming from behind me. Like he deserves sainthood or something. So he gets up to $8 million a year from the Cubs, which has found them in second place in both of his years. So that worked out well for him. Having said all of that, $4.5 million? At 3 o'clock, we're going to talk about, do you think losing counsel to the Cubs worked out to the Brewers' advantage? But he's not half the manager of the trader in Chicago at 4.5. Like that's crazy to me. If the trader's making 8, he should be at least at 6 or 7. I get he doesn't have 10 years of managerial experience or 5 years of managerial experience. He only has 2. All he does is win Manager of the Year awards, man. He just wins. That's what he does. And I saw some odds, I forgot where it was. Pat Murphy's the odds-on favorite to win it this year and make it 3 years in a row. Did you see? There are some knuckleheads out there, Fangraphs, that have the Pirates winning more games than the Brewers.
It was a higher percentage to make the playoffs. That's what it was.
No, it was SI then. Okay, SI had the Pirates in 3rd and the Brewers in 4th in the division.
Yeah, the Fangraphs graphic that they put out, they had the Brewers with the 13th best chance to make the playoffs, and the Pirates were 1 spot ahead of them at 12. Yeah, it was crazy.
Either way. So, again, the Brewers are in 4th. I mean, you want to talk about being absolutely blown away. I would be absolutely blown away if somehow the Brewers are in 4th place in this division. Unless, of course, they're besieged by injuries, which you can't control that, right? I mean, if everybody gets hurt and you end up falling and not having a great year, so be it. And I will already put a spin on that for everybody else. If that were to happen, now you're just going to add a bunch of really good players to this farm system that already is loaded if you were to have a bad year. So either way. So Pat Murphy, obviously, down at spring training with everybody else, and talks about the relief of getting that contract done.
I mean, I think it's important to know where you're going to be, and I really didn't have any doubt that this was going to work out. I'm really grateful, really thankful. You don't realize it because you're part of the baseball world, so you don't really know. But I really feel lucky driving to work every day. I feel lucky. This is what I do for a living. I feel lucky that someone says, yes, yeah, we want you to be in this position for our organization. I do. I feel lucky. I feel fortunate. I know how tough it is to get here, but I think with it becomes a responsibility. And it just kind of, I didn't need to be certain that I was wanted. I didn't need this to happen. I just felt like it probably is the best to get it done. And I don't want to be with any other organization. I feel really connected. He's going on my 11th season. I feel really part of it, and I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Now, again, I don't want to pile on the trader. But there is Murphy. I don't want to be with any other organization. This is where I want to be. Now, you say that after you sign the deal, right? So you're like, oh, well, of course he's going to say that. He just signed the deal, Sparky. What did you think was going to happen? Now, I'm not saying this is going to be his last deal. So they pick up the club option. We're talking 71, somewhere in that area he'll be before this deal is done. He's got younger kids who are still going to have a ways to go in school and everything else. But again, making, $4.5 million or somewhere in that area will help to take care of those finances for those kids and so forth. Doesn't Pat Murphy seem like a guy to you that's just going to manage till he's dead? Like he's just going to go as long as possible. And there are so many other guys. I thought Nick Saban was going to be one of those guys and he bailed. So I was wrong on that. I thought Saban was one of those guys and it didn't end up being that way. Maybe that's because of the way college football is and so forth. But like Terry Francona, I mean, he's had his issues, but I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. Bud Black has had 100 jobs in Major League Baseball. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. He'll just continue to get jobs, managing or doing something else. And I don't, if you told me Pat Murphy's going to get another 4-year contract at 71, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I mean, if he's like this, if there's no health decline or anything and he's still doing his thing, I'd be totally fine with it. Like, age doesn't bother me. Jack McKeon came back. He was older than dirt or however old he was and went and won a World Series with the Marlins when everybody thought he was long done and he hadn't been around. Dick Vermeil was super old. He was completely out of the NFL. He came back and won a Super Bowl with the Rams. So people get hung up on this age thing with Murphy, but I'm fine with it. I just, me personally, I think they underpaid him because you're not going to convince me he's half the manager that the trader is. Like, there is absolutely no chance I'm listening to that.
I feel like most people know Craig Counsell got overpaid. I think that's kind of the biggest outlier in the guys that are ahead of Pat Murphy or equivalent to Pat Murphy in this contract range. So right now, Dave Roberts is $8.1 million. He's the highest paid manager in baseball as of April 10th, 2025. So things might have changed a little bit, but Dave Roberts, he's won multiple World Series, Dodgers manager. He's a stud. Then it's Craig Counsell. Again, people feel like he got overpaid. Alex Cora is the third highest paid manager for the Boston Red Sox, $7.3 million. World Series winning manager. Torey Lovullo, Arizona Diamondbacks, $5 million, has been to the World Series with his team. Bruce Bochy, $4.5 million, has been to a World Series. Aaron Boone with the New York Yankees has been to a World Series. You have all guys around him who have gotten a little bit farther than Pat Murphy. I think $4.5 million is right where I would put him for a guy that doesn't have the same credentials as some of those guys around him.
Let me ask you a question. So you're Pat Murphy. Your guy, the trader, ain't my guy. The trader's, in Arizona at spring training, just like you are, right? And you're going to tell me, hey, man, he got overpaid. Like, they went way above and beyond what they should have paid him. He ain't worth that money. I can't pay you based on what they paid him. I got to pay you based on what everybody else is kind of making. Just let's forget that a deal ever happened, and let's just focus on what we know here with the rest of the managers. I don't think I'm okay with that if I'm Pat Murphy. It's like, I'm just going to ignore the guy that was before me left for $8 million. You offered him $5.5 million, according to reports, before he left. And I know I'm as good as that, with all due respect to him. If nothing else, I've beat him the last 2 years with a much smaller payroll. Like, I got to have more than this, man. Like, y'all got to come with more than 4.5. And again, you're telling me if Pat Murphy got to the open market, he wouldn't get more than $4.5 million on the open market after next year?
He probably would.
Of course he would.
You're talking about it from if this was you in that situation.
I'm saying if I'm
Did you
Pat
hear
Murphy,
Pat Murphy just talk? Pat Murphy
he got paid already. He already got paid.
He got paid $4.5 million.
I know.
He got paid early. He didn't have to get paid this early. I mean, he did a lot of things. He talked about how much he loved being a part of this team, a part of this organization. He's, like you said, 71. I don't think he cares that much about how much money it is. He likes being where he is right now, and that's not what mattered to him. I think it matters that he is in that respected group of managers that are making that much money.
Let's you and I have another conversation. Okay. Corey Knebel coming up here, and then you can stop listening to me and Charlie go back and forth on this. I got all this sound to play. I didn't think we were going to go this way, but we're going to have this conversation. So just so we're both on the same page here, right? Do you think money is more important to you in your 20s, looking for your first big-time salary, somebody in their 40s that's trying to raise a family and all that, or somebody in their late 60s with young kids? Where is the money more important?
I would say somebody in their 40s.
I would say it's all important.
Probably.
I don't care what stage of life you are in, money and more money is always going to be important. Now, having said that, right, you can argue from your standpoint or my standpoint, man, if I was making $4.5 million a year, I ain't got to worry. I got to worry about my kids. They're taken care of. Like, we're good, right? And so I understand that from how you and I would look at it, because obviously nobody's making millions of dollars. I'm just saying, outside looking in, like, I just think they underpaid him. That's my thing. If he signed it, he signed it. Obviously, he's fine with it.
He did it early. Again, he talks about how much he loves being a part of this team.
Right. Now, I will add on one other part of what he just said here. The part where he says, hey, man, I love driving into work. Like, this is awesome. I'm lucky. I get to manage a baseball team for my job. Like, I am lucky to get to do this. There's a lot of people that would love to have this opportunity. This is a hard gig to get and so forth. Can I just say, man, I'm in that same boat where I am happy every day driving in to talk about sports on the radio. That's what they pay me to do. I mean, it is so cool. And that's what I tell my kids. Same thing. Going off to college. Man, find something you love, something where it's not going to be work, and go to school for that. Now, of course, I'm the idiot. I just want to make a lot of money. I don't care if I'm happy or not doing what I do. Okay, well, good luck to you then. I'm just trying to help you. There's a lot of you, obviously, that do your job that hate your job and either don't make a lot of money or make a lot of money but hate the people you work with, or make a lot of money but hate what you do. I get it. I understand. Not everybody can love their job necessarily, but I can relate to Pat Murphy and what he is saying there and how cool that is. And I would hope, not guaranteed, but I would hope that professional athletes, regardless of sport, would feel the same way as well. That they would feel lucky to do what they get to do as well to a certain degree. I think sometimes when you are superstarish, you kind of lose sight of how cool it is to do really what you do. And you get wrapped up in other things in life and forget how cool it is to do what you do. Matt in Madison, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's going on, Matt? Oh no, man. I got too much sound in the background, man. No. So here, real quickly here, real easy rules of the radio. Because I want people to call in. I want to talk to y'all. I don't want to talk to just Charlie all day long. But the rule is pretty simple. When you come on the radio, right, you just turn down your radio when you come on, and then when you get off the radio, you can turn the radio right back up, and you can get back to listening to the show. But it's too hard to do this with hearing myself in the background, and then on a big delay as well. All right, what are we doing here? I'm trying to see here. Let's go to Matt in Madison. Does that work, Charlie? We're good with that?
Matt was moving to a quieter place, so he may just need a little bit more time.
Oh, well, we don't have more time. We got to go to a break. We got to get to Corey Knebel. He comes up next. Former Brewers closer from Brewer territory. We'll get back into talking more about Craig Counsell and stuff coming up at 3 o'clock. So if you're on hold, I see there's people on hold. You can call back at 3 o'clock, and then we'll have a bunch of time where we can take more calls on this thing at 3 o'clock. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver with you. Charlie Using over there doing his thing. As always. Still to come on today's show. If you missed Hot Stove Weekly last night, it was a pretty cool show, man. Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz last night from 5 to 7. They'll be back on again next Thursday night from 5 to 7. Jacob Mizorowski was on. Jeff Levering was on. Jared Koenig was on. It was a cool show last night. Let's play a couple cuts from that show. That'll be coming up next, and then back to Trader Talk coming up at 3 o'clock. I think he's there, but I don't see video, and it looks like his microphone is muted. Is that correct?
Both of those things are correct. Oh, he popped up there.
Oh, there we go. Now I see him. All right, joining us now. There he is on the guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all.
That's all.
It's Jared Koenig. Not Jared Koenig. I'm losing my damn mind. Corey Knebel joins us now from Brewer Territory Coast with our guy Kurt Hogue over there at the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it, Corey.
Oh, yeah, of course. Are we live right now?
We're live. We're live on the radio, live streaming on X, live streaming on YouTube, baby. Everybody is in the know right. Corey Knebel. So I gotta know a couple of different things here. First off and foremost, your deal here deciding to work with our guy Kurt Hogue. Did they have to pay you extra to work with Kurt Hogue? Did you?
Hey, I'm enjoying it, man.
That'll work out, man.
Kurt's lively. Come on, he's a good guy to hang out with, talk to. He's got some good insights, good knowledge. I mean, he loves the analytics, which is great because I don't know anything about analytics. So we work good, man. It's a good team we've got.
Yeah, I love Kurt Hogue, and I love his passion for the minor leagues for the Brewers too. So that's another thing that you will realize throughout the season. He'll be throwing clips up of minor league games all over the Brewers system, and he's
Perfect.
all into the minors. So it's good stuff. I guess, Corey, before we get into the Brewers, I wanted to just pick your brain on this whole CBA discussion that's going on, because now there were reports last night of how both sides are lining up here. I mean, they're saying the players have like $2 billion or whatever it is ready to dish out to the players or whatever else. That's going to be the war chest that each player's going to get so much money each month that they miss games. The owners got their $75 million a team or whatever they have all set aside. It feels like they're digging in for this being a long haul, a type of lockout or strike or whatever you want to call it. CBA is going to expire, so I don't think it's really either one. But having that whole long conversation, it feels like this could be similar to what happened with Fear and Seelig. And, you know, they missed the World Series and everything else. And Bruce Meyer, it was Fear's right-hand guy at the NHL. So he comes from the Donald Fear cloth, I guess you would say. How do you see it right now?
I mean, look, we're always prepared, right? It's every time this time comes around, they got the war chest. And yeah, I mean, they're willing to stay as long as they have to, lock out as long as we have to get exactly what we want. And I think obviously there's a couple key points. I know that MLB is always going to push that salary cap, which, would help obviously small market teams like the Brewers, but at the same time, the Brewers been doing great where they are. So I think that, a lot of talking points with shortening the season, there'd be a lot to give up on either side to do that. I think, look, there's a lot of ways we can go with this. And obviously, you got the international draft, salary cap, minimum pay. Obviously, he's going to just keep going up, man, for these rookies. Look, $780,000 now. It's just, look, the times are changing, man. We're going to keep getting these rookies paid as much as we can possibly. And so obviously free agents too, it's a lot of money in the game, and that salary cap, right? It can hurt, it can help. So, you look at it in the overall picture. I think that Bruce Meyer is going to do everything that he can for the players, and I'm excited to see what happens here with him.
It was the guy I did not want. I anybody but him. I didn't want him. Again, as you can tell, small market, Milwaukee. I want there to be a floor. So if the Brewers are spending 100 and the floor is 140, great, because now they've got to spend 40 more. Now I could have kept maybe Burns. I could have maybe kept Peralta in Milwaukee. Maybe I can keep Woodruff long-term if he's healthy this year, or I can sign somebody else and keep William Contreras maybe long-term, right? Because now they have to spend that money. I feel better about that. And the reason I didn't want Meyer is because I don't think the owners can beat him. I just straight up, I don't think they're going to beat him. And that is my concern. And I see guys like Brent Suter, who's in Milwaukee, and he's a player rep, and he's active, and he's talking to the media and all of that, and that whole deal. But my thing right now is, okay, fine. So the players are saying, Brewers are good. Brewers are good. Okay, well, first of all, we're kind of a rarity, if we're being honest here, with these smaller markets that we're consistently getting to the postseason and so forth. But my follow-up is always the same thing. How do they win a World Series? Like, how would you say, okay, Mark's just missing this? Outside of spending $40 million more, how does this ever change? I don't know how you see or get them to the World Series and winning this thing. I mean, it would literally have to be like catching lightning in a bottle in order to make this thing work at this point.
I mean, what they've done over the years, man, they fill the team, they fill the clubhouse with guys that, look, Matt Arnold and Murphy want in the clubhouse. And that's the guys that are going to get on board with what he's trying to accomplish, which it has showed. Even with Counts and Murph, they have the same ideas and the same passion for what we're trying to do. Look, no one believes in us. No one believes in the Brewers, right? That's just how it's always going to be. And yeah, to your point, obviously, what's $40 million more going to do? You can go out and get a Blake Snell, but that's one guy, or you can spend $20 million and get maybe two, obviously top of the line starters. But at the same time, you still got to hope that they stay healthy, right? The Dodgers can go out there and spend $1 billion, but if you got three of their $40-50 million guys that get hurt, then what are they going to do now? It showed in, what was that, 2021? They had $700 million in contracts, but then everyone starts falling off the table and they fall short. So, excuse me. I mean, anything can happen, obviously, right? I think with the Brewers, that's what I'm saying. Look, a salary cap, no. Okay, because look at what the Brewers have been doing. They're spending $100 million and they're still making it there. Yeah, they just need to take that one little leap, which is a huge leap to get to the World Series and then to actually win it all. And that's for everyone to stay healthy, everything to line up, obviously. When you don't have this $40 million Blake Snell in your rotation to come and do what he did. So
yeah, absolutely. He is Corey Knebel, co-host of Brewer Territory, brand new show. Follow him on X at Brewer Territory. I'm telling you, you will love the show. They have great chemistry already, a great dynamic. It's a fun listen to. And for the most part, you're going to become smarter, watching it. And sometimes you become dumber listening to
I'm
going
to become smarter. Yeah, 100%.
Yes, right. So you're going to like it. I promise you, you're going to like this. What about Pat Murphy? He gets his new extension yesterday. Not extension, new contract. Sorry, new contract. So he's got the last year of his deal, then it's 2 years and a club option. The report is it's just under $9 million in new money. So if that's the case, we're saying 2 years, that's like about $4.5 million a year. He's only been there 2 years, couple manager of the year awards, all that fun stuff. I call him the trader. Others call him Craig Counsell. He's in Chicago at $8 million. And I was telling my producer, Charlie, we were arguing in the last segment about this. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, if I'm Pat Murphy, you're not telling me I'm half the manager that he is. Like, there's no chance I'm buying into that rhetoric whatsoever. And then Charlie pulled up the other manager's payrolls. He was like, yeah, but that's the outlier. Like, they clearly overpaid him in Chicago. You've got to work with what's in front of you. I was like, that may be, but if I'm Pat Murphy, I'm not working with that. I'm working with what the guy that left got paid, and I want to be closer to him than all these other guys who, in fact, have won World Series, and Pat Murphy hasn't, right? And that's the angle of the Brewers. I guess I'm happy he's here. I'm happy they extended him. Obviously, I just thought he should have got more.
I agree. I mean, I had no idea what the numbers were, but look, I agree. I think Murphy, obviously, and he's been doing it a lot longer, right? He's been a head coach at Notre Dame. He's been, a manager. He's been the bench coach over in San Diego. I think he's the manager over in AAA for San Diego. Look, he's a manager, right? And he's got a lot more experience, not a lot more knowledge, wisdom. But at the same point, maybe that's just one thing with him. Maybe he loves Milwaukee that much, right?
Yeah, he does.
And he wants to be here, and he knows, look, here's what I'm going to have to do, and I want to stay in Milwaukee. Knowing Murph, knowing as the bench coach, look, this guy fit right into Milwaukee, and he's meant to be there. So that's the only thing I can think is, look, he understood the assignment, he accepted, and here's what I'm going to take, and I want to be in Milwaukee. Let's go out and win it all.
And I absolutely love it because he clearly likes being here, and the fan base absolutely loves him to death as well. And his kids are in the community, and they play travel ball, and they do all that stuff. So It's a perfect situation for Pat Murphy and for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, having said that, as we look at this Brewers team here, as we get ready for first spring training games, they're happening in baseball today. Brewers' first spring training game comes up tomorrow. I've told this to people because I think some people, and I used to be this way, come into spring training and think that there's real battle for competition, there's real battle for jobs and so forth. Realistically, though, coming into spring training in most organizations, you probably have 2 or 3 positions potentially open from a manager's eyes, and the rest of them, regardless of what a player may hit, he hits 200 in spring. Don't care. He's starting on opening day. That's my guy. I know what he is. I know what his track record is. We go from there. Then the other aspect you have of it, going back to the Ryan Braun days when he was unbelievable in spring training and they still sent him down because, of the whole not wanting to give up an extra year and all that stuff. So they still sent him down. So you have those aspects where no matter how good a minor league player may be, he's probably still not breaking camp with the team, and he's going to have to go down there and wait before they were to call him up. Having said that, it's hard to look at this roster and go, oh, yeah, there's a clear job opening right now. I mean, yeah, there's probably a battle for the 5th spot in this rotation. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I think Patrick's 4, and then you have Miz, and you have Priester, and you have Woodruff at the top, and then there's a battle for 5, and then whoever doesn't win that battle for 5, one maybe goes to the bullpen, the rest go back down to AAA, right? Is that how you see it?
I see it the exact same way, right? Especially at the beginning of the season. I think Murphy does a great job of kind of playing the days off. And, yeah, you throw a starter who's a long inning guy in the bullpen now. And you can piggyback. You can manipulate some ways in that aspect. But, yeah, I agree. Look, you got your infield, your outfield, catcher. I mean, your 5th spot, obviously, and then David Hamilton being a great fast pinch runner. I think, look, everything's pretty much set, right? Except the rotation. And then, that in turn will kind of jump some people in the bullpen down to AAA and just, hey, start working on some innings. And like I said, play the days off, use your options they got.
Corey Knebel joins us, former Brewers closer, Brewers Territory, obviously as well. Follow Brewer Territory on X at Brewer Territory. Joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. The back end of this bullpen is something else, right? They lose a closer, they replace a closer. They lose a closer, they replace a closer. And now McGill is the latest one. And it looks like Uribe is going to be the next one in line here. But to have Canning back there, Ashby back there, to go along with what they have, not only is the rotation set up and deep, this bullpen is also set up and just as deep probably as the rotation.
I agree. And Ashby is one of those guys, one of my favorites back there because that guy can start. He can be your short, quick, 1-inning guy, and he can also be your 3 to 4 inning long reliever. So, like you said, look, you got a lot of hard throws back there with McGill, Uribe, and Koenig, and obviously having both sides too. It's this is what Milwaukee always has, right? Little toot my own horn here. They've always had the great bullpen, great back end of the bullpen. You get the game to the 6th inning and lights out, right? So I think that's where obviously is the hardest part is finding those starters every week to get you to the 6th inning with 2 to 3 runs, no more.
How, for you, baseball starting in April, the Brewers are in a dome now. It's not County Stadium anymore. So they're in a dome, but you still have Wrigley. That's open air. And there's a lot of open air stadiums that are going to be in colder places around this country.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be better if this season were to start May 1st? Be done at the end of August, playoffs start Labor Day weekend, and you're out of this whole thing by the end of September?
I mean, I'm not going to say no to that. Look, you have a 120, 130 game season. You shorten the games 30 to 40 games. I think every player would obviously benefit from that.
And then pitchers would be able to go deeper in games, right? Wouldn't that make sense as well?
Agree. But, there's also some guys. Look, I'm a guy that I agree with that. I love to just pitch in hot. I can't stand pitching in cold, but I mean, I think there's also some hitters or some pitchers that can thrive in that kind of weather. Obviously, they know they're going to throw 98 miles an hour with sink inside on these guys, and no hitter wants to have to hit 98 coming at them, and then you get your hands jammed, and then you're done for 2 to 3 innings. You can't feel your hand out there on the field. So I think there's some benefits to some of these colder weather games, but look, I agree. I think the injuries with the weather, the cold, it happens a lot more, and that's always the time, right? It's April, and then you kind of skip that August injury time.
Right.
So I agree, man. I'd love to see the game start later and, hey, end by October, end by November. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it starts too cold, ends too cold in my mind. And the season is, again, I love baseball. I can't wait for the Brewers to start, but it just seems way too long, especially for the players, playing 6 days a week or whatever the case is. I talked to Chad Patrick last week, and I brought up the cutter. I'm like, man, it really feels like Hookie, like, it makes everybody throw a cutter on this team. And he started live. He's like, you think so? From your perspective, if it works so well in Milwaukee, why aren't they all doing this around baseball? Why aren't they all trying to introduce the same thing? Because my buddy always says, I don't care who they pick up from a pitcher perspective, they will turn water into wine, guaranteed, once they get into that Brewers clubhouse and with Chris Hook. Why doesn't everybody kind of copycat up here? Because clearly this cutter philosophy that they have is working.
Yeah, I agree. And that's different teams have different ways, man. I mean, the Dodgers were big into sweeper. That was the new thing coming up. They were trying to teach everyone the sweeper. And, I mean, yeah, the sweeper is a nasty pitch. There's a lot of pitchers in baseball that throw the sweeper. But I agree, that cutter is definitely one of the harder pitches to throw, in my opinion. And it's so simple, right? It's still a fastball that you just change your grip a little bit and you throw a fastball. It sounds simple, but it wasn't simple to me. So I think that's where, like I said, look, Milwaukee, Hookie, Murph, they find the right players, the right arm slots, the right pitchers that have the ride four seam that they can bring in, and they know that they're going to be able to teach these guys this cutter. And it's just going to be another nasty pitch that you can use as your third best pitch.
Who's the better athlete, you or Kratz?
Kratz? Come on. No question. I got him all day. Don't tell him I said that, though.
Corey Knebel, former Brewers closer. Brewer Territory, new show out there. Him and Kurt Hogue, definitely going to want to check it out. Follow him on X at Brewer Territory. Dude, you were awesome. We agreed a lot. That made it fun, too. Corey, we will talk down the line, I'm sure.
Thanks, Park. Appreciate it, man. Hey, next time also, we got JP Fireheisen joining us this weekend. So, just throwing it out there for everybody.
Nice. Tune in for that for sure. Thanks, Corey, for coming on, man. Have a good weekend.
You too. Appreciate it, guys.
Take care. There he is, Corey Knebel, joining us on the guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. Don't forget, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Still to come, and Habish, and Rotier, right? National reputation, hometown service, 13 locations all over the state of Wisconsin. You're listening to the game in Wausau. They're there. If you're listening to us on WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton on the Flamethrower there, huge signal. They're right there in your backyard as well. The reason that they're able to expand to 13 locations around the state is because everybody wants them. Everybody wants them to represent them. They've had so much success. And when you've been around for damn near 100 years, family members to family members to family members recommending using them because one family member uses them. Well, that's who I use. Oh, my cousin used Habish. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My sister's using them. Oh, my aunt's using them. Oh, my dad used them. And it's just, you ever play telephone? I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's just one person to the next person to the next person, telling everybody to use the people that win, the people that care about you, the people that are going to do the best job for you and treat you just like any other case they have. Regardless of what the winnings may be, they treat you like you're the most important thing. And to me personally, that's all I want. Habish, and Rotier. Again, check them out today. Habish.com or dial them up 800-2HABISH, 800-2HABISH. Habish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Check them out at Habish.com. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Using over there. Thanks so much to Corey Knebel for joining us. Check out Brew Territory. I'm telling you, him and Kurt Hogue do a great job. Beat writer for the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll have Kurt Hogue on as well. He's heading out to spring training here in the next couple of weeks. So once Kurt Hogue gets out there, we'll have him on as well from spring training. Kurt Hogue, one of the nicest dudes in the world that you'll ever come across. We're going to get back to the Trader coming up at 3 o'clock. But before we do that, last night, a great Hot Stove Weekly. Tim Allen, the franchise, along with Tommy Wirtz, and had on a really great guest lineup. The Brewers and Mike Vasallo have been amazing to Hot Stove Weekly and to Wisconsin Sports Radio Network this year. Just great guests every single week. And when we were on, when I was on by myself the previous week, I had Chad Patrick, Andrew Vaughn. That was a lot of fun. And this week, they ended up with Jared Koenig, Jeff Levering, and they ended up with The Miz. And The Miz is something here. A lot of different fun stuff from him. The Miz talking about, being in JUCO and how long he had been talking to the Brewers previous to them drafting him.
COVID hit, so that was a big factor for me. That was, I was committed to Oklahoma State my junior year, and then COVID hit and everything, hit the fan. And, it kind of just lucked out and how it worked out, so we figured it out. We grinded through it and really got the best way possible to where I'm at.
And when did you start talking to the Brewers when you were at Crowder?
I think I was talking to the Brewer scouts since high school. I've been talking to those guys, Riley, for a while. So
again, not 11 years old, not 11 like the Phillies in Venezuela,
Yeah.
Right? Not like the Phillies, but in high school. And that is truly what does happen. For those of you who are like anti-travel baseball, blah, 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 anti-going to showcases. Okay, y'all can be anti all that all you want. But I'm telling you right now, and you can go talk to Tim Allen about his son. That's exactly what happened to his son. Junior and senior years. I don't know if it was a sophomore year. Definitely junior and senior years. He'd go to these showcases and you'd have scouts walking up, asking him for his medicals and all this other stuff. Like, it's real. That is exactly what happens. And they start following you. And they're keeping their notes and everything else every time they see you. And they're watching everything. They're not just watching the dude pitch. They're watching how he is in the dugout. They're watching how he is in the bullpen. They're actually watching how he reacts if it's a bad half of an inning, how he reacts when things are going well. They're watching you warm up before the game. And how much are you paying attention to when you're, doing soft toss and all that other stuff? Like, they're watching on every single thing. So many kids don't realize how intently they are paying attention to stuff and how just a little of things could persuade them that you should be ranked over some other kid who's probably at near the same talent level.
Well, and it seems like the Brewers are so good at that too. Every single player on their team just feels like they have this personality that's meant for the Milwaukee Brewers, and that each of these guys go out there and always giving 110%. And that's a testament to Matt Arnold and the scouting staff. Like, any of these players, whether you're from Venezuela, whether you're from New York, it doesn't matter. They find the right guys with the right personalities for this team.
Mizorowski, they asked Tim and Tommy asked Mizorowski about his emotions, because that's been an ongoing talking point about him jumping up and down. Uribe does the same thing. When we had Chad Patrick on a couple of weeks ago, he was screaming in the playoffs and all of that. So playing with emotion.
There might have been a few guys that kind of were like, hey, let's be careful, don't show someone up. But no, they were kind of like, go do your thing, kid. Like, if that's what you want to do, if you want to celebrate coming off the mound after an inning, do it. Just keep getting out.
That's the difference between now and 10 years ago, 15 years ago. This is 15 years ago, and he does that in a game. Somebody's getting drilled next time around. And I don't think the reaction from his teammates would be the same if this was the 80s or early 90s. I just don't. Because, again, back then, you go doing that stuff, just go back to La Russa. You're getting hit. Like, you're going to get hit. You're not showing up Albert Pujols on a strikeout and think that Braun or Fielder is not getting drilled the next time they come up for that. That was going to happen. And now in today's game, that rarely ever happens anymore.
Well, and I think moments of emotion like some of these players have, I think is a lot more marketable nowadays. And people know that's what the fans want to see. I think back in the day, you didn't really market these players nearly as much, and that the fans wanted to see the fights. They liked seeing you beating the other player and seeing the guy charge them out. That was fun to see.
Yes.
And the MLB felt like that wasn't something they wanted to promote anymore. So now let the guys celebrate a little bit more. Most of these players are okay with it because they know they'll do the same thing in order to get the same kind of advertisement dollars.
Absolutely. Jacob Mizorowski then talking about the rough patches of the season. And I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you, I firmly believe this to be true. When the spotlight was on that kid, he was amazing. When he came off that injury, nobody was really talking about him the same way they were when he came up from the minors. And they definitely weren't talking about him like they were in the playoffs. So he was kind of just another guy in the rotation. And that's when it kind of went sideways. To me personally, I think it was more of the mental edge than anything. But Mizorowski talks about the rough patches.
I don't think that's really it. I think it was more just like day to day, game to game. I mean, moving on to the next one, I had a lot of, tough conversations with Hookie and Jim, through that rough stretch I had, and it really came out positive on the other end.
Well, and then on top of that, do you know when you have it on a specific day, or you think you have it every day? Is it like today I'm hitting 103, like for sure I can feel that? Or is there other days when you're like, well, let's try a little slider action more because I'm only hitting 101 only? But on top of that, do you just know in the moment on those days when it's like, no one's going to be able to touch my stuff?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, you kind of get in the bullpen and figure out where you're at. And, sometimes like you said, sometimes it's going to be a slider day. Maybe I don't have much feel for the fastball, but no, I mean, for example, like that Cubs game, I was so riled up that, the 104 came out of nowhere. I was surprised by it too. So it's like, it's wild. Yeah.
That's good stuff there by Jacob Mizorowski. There's another clip here I wanted to play. I'm looking at time. Oh, I think I can make it work. Asking about upping his usage here in 2026, throwing more pitches.
Yeah, I think something around there. I think that's a good goal to aim for. But, we'll see when, mid-season comes around, the All-Star break hits, and see where we're at.
Yeah, again, I think that number was right around 200 innings, somewhere in that area. And if you can be in that area, I think you feel good about yourself. But this is like we talked about the other day. How much of an increase are they going to let these guys have from year to year? Because you want to protect the elbow, you want to protect the shoulder and all of that stuff. That'll wrap up the first hour. Coming up next, do you think losing the trader to the Cubs worked out to the Brewers' advantage? It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in, hour number 2. Thanks for tuning us in. Thanks for listening today on a Friday. Hope you all got a fun weekend planned. Charlie is working all weekend at the second gig. I have got myself into a situation of being in one of those like indoor buildings with like all these storage units. So we had a one size storage unit and now we are upping it to another size storage unit. Why? Because it's cheaper. Yes. Makes no sense to me either, but you go online, you can find deals. Because otherwise, if you see being there, it was one price. And then they just keep raising the price, right? So then we go online and we're like, oh, look, it's like $30 cheaper if we get a bigger one online, right? Okay.
Until next year when it's not
switched it over.
Cheaper.
And then you move and go somewhere else and you play the game. Storage units have become so overpriced, in my opinion.
At least all you're storing is Christmas trees, so it's kind of easy to move, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's Christmas trees, all the bins, all the Halloween bins. We had a 10 by 10. Now we're going to 10 by 15, but it's all in the same building. So you just move it from one, put it on the little mover thingies and move it down hallways to wherever you want to go. So that's where I'll be all weekend if anybody is looking for me. All right, coming up this hour, we'll get to Charlie Sounds today, coming up at 3:40. Going to start off talking about the trader. Do you think losing the trader to the Cubs worked out to the Brewers' advantage at the end of the day? Now, knowing that Pat Murphy has signed his new contract that will keep him here for at least the next 3 years, potentially 4 years of the club option on the third year of the new contract. Do you think now it's actually worked out to the Brewers' advantage because so many people were livid, like myself, that he picked up and left and went to the Cubs and were none too happy? And now seeing Murphy the last couple of years, knowing what this all looks like, did it actually work out to the Brewers' advantage that the trader left? Nikolai Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio, streaming live on X and on YouTube. Check out the YouTube channel. We got all kinds of shorts and videos, all kinds of fun stuff you can always check out and look at. So, you know, late at night, kids are in bed, wife's in bed, whatever the case may be, and you're just kind of scrolling around, go check out the YouTube page, WI Sports Radio. And you will be entertained, I am sure. Interesting stuff coming out yesterday concerning Murphy and so forth. So first, let me promote a great piece on The Athletic by Will Salmon on Yelich and Murphy's relationship from right before Yelich signed that next extension. If you remember, he signed that extension 6 months after he shattered his kneecap, right? Well, like the day previous, I want to say the day previous to that, 2 days previous to that, Murphy is lobbying with the Brewers owner to give him the second extension as not the manager, the bench coach. He told the trader, hey, do you mind if I go talk to him about Yelich? Yeah, well, I don't care. Go ahead. So he was over there talking and lobbying to get Yelich's second extension. Him and Yelich attached at the hip, essentially, through all of this. And it's just a really, really good piece. So you have that Athletic subscription. Go check it out. Will Salmon's a great writer and did a great piece on those two. But Yelich also talking yesterday at spring training about his thoughts on Murphy when Murphy was first hired as a manager, again, replacing Counsell.
Well, I was glad to have him. You know, it was the continuity. He'd been there the whole time I've been here. He'd been with Counts that whole time, and we were all familiar with him. He was familiar with us. He kind of just knew how we did things, ran things in spring training, the day-to-day during the season. So it was good to have somebody that'd been around, and you know, things didn't change a ton. You know, when he took over, obviously him and Counts, different personalities, different way of going about things, but he was familiar with us and the way we did things, and I was glad that he was the one that was taking over, and obviously it went really well for a couple of years.
There's Yelich talking about his thoughts when he hired him. Now, make no mistakes about it. When they hired Pat Murphy, I don't care what they say, they didn't think this was going to be how this was going to go. There's just no way. There's no chance they thought he'd get a second contract. I think it was, well, if he turns out to be pretty good, okay, that's great. I don't think they thought he'd be as good as he is, borderline special as he has turned out to be for this Milwaukee Brewers franchise. I don't think they even thought it was going to be this way. Then Yelich talks about the role that Murphy has played the last 2 years in the team's success.
Well, I think manager, right, that's what the name is. You're managing people, you're managing personalities. You have things that you have to help navigate throughout the season. You have to try to get the best out of guys, motivate guys, get everybody pulling in the same direction. And I think he does a really good job, doing that. Like you said, it's hard to quantify. Like there's nothing that you can do that's like, oh, well, this impact had, this had this much impact on the group, but it does. And, success and all that starts from the top and works its way down. And when you have somebody that has a strong, consistent message and is good at motivating people, good at bringing the best out of guys and getting guys on the same page, it makes a difference over the course of 6 months,
Follow up to that, what he just said. Good at motivating guys, right? We always talk about, do these guys really need to be motivated? Man, a ton of money. Like, what do you mean we need to be motivated? And in baseball, it's even more different, right? Football, fire the guys up once a week. Okay. Every day, no, it's not happening. You got to pick your spots to when you want to rah-rah it up or something like that. The thing that I still am interested in seeing how this is going to play out. How often can you go to the same well? Because we're 2 years in. We've used the same thing. It looks like we're getting ready to use the same thing again. Us against the world. Nobody believes in us. Screw everybody. Let's go prove them wrong. Let's go. I feel like we're going to do this again for year 3. He's becoming the Lou Holtz of Major League Baseball managers. And if all these people in that dugout and in that clubhouse are brainwashed enough to believe this whole rah, 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 everybody's against us mentality again for a third year, and it results in a playoff berth and 90 wins and all of that, God bless Pat Murphy for being able to figure this out, saying the same thing over and over again for 3 years. Because, as we talked about, like in football, they always say, man, if you're somewhere 10 years, it's over. Like, you've got to go. Like, that's a long time to be anywhere. In college, you don't have to worry about it, right? Because most of these college kids are there for 4 years, maybe. Now, you got some guys that are in college 6, 7 years nowadays, but 4 years and then they're gone. So you don't have to worry about burning out that same message. Murphy, on the other hand, here is going to have something coming, depending on how long he's here, because you're about to get these new wave of kids in. They're all under contract for a very long time. And the core group of this team is going to be the same every year. And how to keep that fresh is going to be, I think, one of his biggest keys to success going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. But also, when we're talking about Fangraphs and Sports Illustrated,
it makes it easy for him.
They're adding fuel to the fire every single year, man.
Mm-hmm.
He has that going for him because all these media outlets just still don't believe in the Brewers, no matter who's on that team, it feels like. So he's going to keep going to that. And I think Pat Murphy, the way the players are bought into him, I think he could say whatever he wants as long as he still spreads that message of this is a family, this is our team, it's us, and that's who we care about. I think that's the true message. Not even really just the underdogs, but that it's us, and that's what we need to focus on.
Barry Alvarez was always great at that, getting into a college bowl game. Their first Rose Bowl with Barry Alvarez was the Badgers against UCLA. Everybody and their mama was picking UCLA in that game. J.J. Stoke, Cade McNamara, all those guys in that game. And it was us against the world. And Barry Alvarez was so good at getting his team fired up and locked in. And even your own mama don't think you can win this game, right? Whatever he had to say to get him locked in and going. Again, easier to do in football when it's once a week. Harder to do when there's more games like the NHL, like the NBA, and especially like Major League Baseball with all the games they play, which is, again, a huge credit to Pat Murphy doing it 2 years. And now the challenge is, can you do it here in year number 3? You think losing the trader to the Cubs worked out to the Brewers' advantage? Nikolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. I've been holding back on saying my response because I think you all know my response. So I want to ask Chicago Charlie over there, other side of the glass, your thoughts, because you're also a Cubs fan, but you were pulling for the Brewers last year as well. So your thoughts on this whole exchange as how it's all went down.
I feel like this is going to sound weird. I don't think the Brewers themselves have really gotten an advantage because Pat Murphy's the manager, because Craig Counsell left. I think Craig Counsell had him in this type of territory during his tenure as the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers too. This is the same kind of team. Yes, it's changing players. Yes, it's more like Pat Murphy likes to point out, no-name players that he's getting to play at that top of their game. But Craig Counsell was doing that in Milwaukee too. He was able to get this team to NLCS appearances. And I think this is something that when people are so excited about Pat Murphy, I think we have to kind of step back a little bit and say, until he gets to that World Series, I don't think they have a true advantage yet, because this is what they were doing with Craig Counsell. Now, on the other side of things, I think the Cubs put themselves at a disadvantage because they paid so much for Craig Counsell. And to what we were talking about earlier, when you pay him that much money, when all the other guys around him comparatively have better resumes, have better tenures with other teams, to get to that point of where they're getting paid, it just feels so weird. And now you're seeing it in the kind of frustrations in the front office of the Chicago Cubs, while the Brewers are just doing their same old thing that they've been doing.
They definitely added pressure to themselves by cutting that deal.
100%.
Jed Hoyer, especially. Like, you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Put yourself at a disadvantage.
And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what Tom Ricketts wanted, the owner of the Cubs. He wanted them to be able to win a lot more games and win the division, not having to up his spend at all. Hey, if he can do that in Milwaukee with not the payroll that we have, imagine what he can do with the number that I give him. And I don't got to raise my payroll. Then Cub fans will shut up about how I'm a cheapskate and don't spend enough money. This is going to work out great. And then the first year, you're 10 games out of first place. And then last year, you're 5. And you were 5 games out. And what happened? You got forced into having to go spend a ton of money this offseason trying to catch him again. You got Bregman. You got Cabrera. You go ahead and spend all this money. God help the trader if they don't win this division with all the money they spent this offseason. Like, if this does not go right, if they don't win the division, up in the spend that they did this offseason, I don't know if they fire him, but he's going to have a lot of pressure on him if they don't figure it out this year. Because by all accounts, Peralta's gone. You added Bregman, Cabrera, and whatever else they added. The Brewers, Jeevil, I mean, that's it. That's all they added. That was nothing special. $3.5 million. That was their big add of the offseason. Y'all lose the division now to this Brewers team? You tell me why they should keep him.
Well, and I think to his benefit a little bit, the Cubs season got completely derailed by injuries last year. Their pitching staff was completely just decimated by that. Kyle Tucker throughout the whole second half of the season was in and out of the lineup with injuries.
Right.
Seiya Suzuki. Like, they were dealing with a lot as a team. But also, when you're getting paid that much money, injuries and that type of excuse only get you so far. If it's another year where you're saying, yeah, we were just injured, we couldn't get to that point, then why are the Brewers so good at replacing their injured players with farm system guys that come in and can produce right away, like a Logan Henderson coming in to be in that rotation last year, and getting that type of work out of these players that were given up on or just not given the same kind of opportunities, like an Andrew Vaughn, when you are constantly just giving Justin Turner retread over and over again because everybody else on your team is hurt.
Correct. That's exactly right. And again, we go back to salary cap and labor negotiations and all this, but what makes the Dodgers so dangerous, not only is the amount of money they can spend, but their farm system is so good every year. And they're not drafting at the top of rounds. They just are really, really good at what they do. It'd be one thing if they spent a ton of money and didn't have a great farm system, but they got both, which again makes them kind of an unstoppable force at this point. Matt Arnold had things to say at spring training today as well concerning the deal that he cut with Pat Murphy and why he's the right guy for the job.
He's one of one, you know, I mean, he's special, and I love the fact that he wants to continue to challenge everyone in the room and try to make everyone better, you know, and I think he's not afraid. He's competitive. He's going to fight you tooth and nail for a win and to make you better off the field, and he cares about people, and I love that about him.
He cares about people, and I think that's what makes him special as well with those players, because I think there is a genuine sense that he cares about you. In that piece in The Athletic, Yelich talks about the idea of, hey, man, if you suck, he's going to tell you suck. And if you're doing good, he'll pat you on the butt and say, hey, man, you're doing a good job. And as a player, that's all you kind of want. But you don't get that with every head coach or with every manager. They don't have the guts to come up to you and be like, dude, you better get your head out of your butt and figure this out. Remember what he did to Joey Ortiz? He sat Joey Ortiz for a couple of games last year because he wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing at the plate. You don't want to do it the way we want you to do it. Sit over here next to me and watch. And when you figure it out, let me know, and I'll put you back on the field again. And that's some of the stuff that he does that you don't really see. Could you imagine if Pat Murphy was coaching Kansas basketball with Darren Peterson, how that would be playing out right now?
It'd be a little bit different. But I think what makes that work for Pat Murphy and what kind of separates him from, let's say, another college basketball coach and like a guy like Mick Cronin, who's just constantly going at his players and just demoralizes them at points.
He had an apology today.
They did another one, an official one, like in front of the big cameras for UCLA for 19 minutes. I have to watch the whole thing.
Really?
He says, because I was mad in the initial one that he didn't apologize to the reporter. And I want to see if in the 19-minute version he apologized.
I didn't see him apologize to the reporter. It was only the kid he booted out. All right, go ahead.
But Pat Murphy, what makes him so special and what makes that kind of hard-nosed mentality work is that at the same time that he's doing that is on the next inning, he can celebrate and cheer and laugh with a Bryce Terang if he messes up a play or does a crazy move, or Jacob Mizorowski's jumping up on the mound. He's with them that way too. We talk about it all the time. He really does feel like a father figure to a lot of these guys when they're on the field, and he treats them like they are his sons. He goes out there and wants the best for them. And if that means sitting him for 3 games, that means sitting him for 3 games. If that means celebrating or laughing with him when he messes up, that means laughing with him when he messes up. He's so good at that.
Matt Arnold talks about the old school mentality and him relating to the players.
You know, I think there's value in the old school mentality, absolutely, but he's not completely old school. Like, he's not closed-minded. You know, and there's a difference between those two, and I think he's very open to ideas and continue to get better, like I said, and I think that's the goal here for all of us. We all want to get better.
You were smiling before when you were talking about one-on-one. How do you describe that? Like, do you have to, like, it's the right kind of player that's going to get the most from Murph, isn't it?
I don't know if it's just the right kind of player. I mean, I think he just wants you to be the best version of yourself, you know, and I think he's leaned into that for a lot of years, and it doesn't matter where you're from. He talked about that in his opening speech, you know, or who you are. He just wants you to be the best version of yourself, and he's willing to press different buttons to get there, and I think that's what makes him a great coach.
That is the psychological part that I think is key. And it's key for anybody that's a manager of any type of person or people. You can't treat everybody necessarily the same. You know, you might be able to choose somebody out and then they get their head out of their butt and they're okay. And then you might choose somebody else out and they may go into a shell and be even a worse version of themselves at that point. And they're done. It's all done. You may chew out somebody else and they may give you your notice. I'm done. I'm not going to be talked to like that. I'm out of here. So you've got to know who you're dealing with and know how to act in order to get different things out. And that's what makes great coaches or managers. That's what made Phil Jackson great. That's what made Bill Parcells great. That's what made Belichick great. That's what makes these type of guys, and again, notice they're all older, but that's kind of what makes them so good. And Pat Murphy appears to be another one of them.
He really is somebody who I think has this mentality of the legendary coaches that you've seen throughout not just MLB, but all time. Again, this idea that you have to be hard, you have to be tough on these players in order to get the best out of them, but that when they react, when they give that back to you, you have to learn how to say, you know what, that's good. That's what I want back from you. I'm cheering you. I'm proud of you for standing back up and fighting and doing these types of things. Being able to balance that is such a tricky thing to do, and he does it, again, better than most people do.
The biggest tournament in college hoops is taking over, and Potawatomi has everything you need to max out your experience. I'd highly suggest that you watch the tournament at Potawatomi. They have so many different options to catch the action on, either on the casino floor or at one of the restaurants like Rock and Brews or 1100 Bar and Lounge. Plus, drink specials and seat reservations in the sportsbook, dozens of self-serving kiosks, full bar and food menus, and the monster video wall, 2,000 square feet, up to 30 sporting events at one time. It's tourney time, baby, at Potawatomi. Must be 21 to enter the casino. More event info online at potawatomi.com/events. Again, 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. All day brunch, burgers, wraps, salads, homemade desserts, and pastries at the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. It is awesome. I've not come across one person yet that went down there and said, Sparky, you were wrong. You know what I get all the time? Man, you undersold it. It's actually better than what you even say it is on the radio. I'm trying to help out. I can only do the best I can, right? I feel like I'm selling it pretty good, and then I still get told, you're kind of still underselling it. Well, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say. Coming up next, the NBA is not happy about the whole tanking thing. And as I've said before, I have no problem with it. I'm completely supportive of it. They're mad that it's happening more now than it normally does. Well, the only reason it's happening more now than it ever does is because of the class that is coming out in this draft. This class wasn't that good, you wouldn't see all of this nonsense that you're seeing. But because this class is deemed special, like really special over the last 20 years, because of that, everybody and their mama's trying to get in line and get one of these guys. That's why it's happening. But no, we're going to overreact and try and change rules and try and screw up the NBA even more. So there's all these ideas out there being floated about and being discussed within NBA circles. We're going to go over some of them. I'm just curious if any of these make any sense to you or if you're on board with any of them. I mean, there's one option. Let's bid, have an open auction on draft slots. One executive's like, I'd bid $100 million on the first pick.
That's crazy.
You're out of your damn mind.
That's crazy.
Close the league down. If we're auctioning off draft picks, not players, draft selections, if we're auctioning off draft selections of where it is and it's a bidding war, you can say goodbye to every small market in this league. It's all done.
That's the point of a salary cap. Then you're going to be in the MLB boat.
It's all done. It's all done if we get to that point. That's just one of the dumb ideas. I got more. It's coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you, broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Happy Friday. Hope you are doing well. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Inside Wisconsin Sports, weekday morning, 6 to 9, Josh and Trevor. And then Monday morning, Trevor is off, and it'll be Josh and Tommy coming up on Monday morning. And then 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff, like always. And then you have noon to 2, Mason Crosby out sick today. He'll be back on Monday, I think, along with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Then, of course, this show from 2 to 5. And then 5 to 6, Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up, the big old hunk of love coming up from 5 to 6. We had a conversation today over in the, I don't know what we call it, the Jock Lounge. I don't know what we call it. It's a room. It's got a bunch of cubicles. Everybody's got their own cubicle. Every on-air person and producer has their own cubicle and all of that we all work at. And in between shows and while shows are going on, everybody's having their conversation. And I was accused by everybody over there. Josh was over there, Tommy, Mitch, all them having fun. Like, Sparky, you called Tommy big old hunk of love because he was fat. It's like, no, man, I just call him big old hunk of love. Like Elvis has big old hunk of love. Like, that's the thing. Hey, no. And now Tommy's lost all this weight, right? So now it's like, he's just got to be the big hunk of love. And now Josh is like, hey, when he's got it all gone, he's going to have to be like formally known as Love or something like that. Man, are you trying to mean it as like a fat comment or nothing like that?
I mean, I can see where they're coming from.
I can see where they're coming from, man. I understand. But Tommy does have a million different nicknames in this building.
Well, Mitch gives them a new one every week. So
yes, correct.
It changes all the time.
He does. He absolutely does. Charlie Sounds of the Day coming up here in just a little bit. I wanted to go over some of these ideas that are being discussed apparently by the NBA. Now, again, I think this is a complete overreaction. Like, I wish I could sit down with Adam Silver and go, just chill, dude. Just relax. Like, next year, if this happens again, then react. Don't react. This class is ridiculously good. And I'm so glad the Bucks have a first-round pick, even though they're going to screw it up and they're not going to get as high of a pick probably than they should have because they're going to win too many games and potentially be a playoff team. They're back in action against the Pelicans, by the way, coming up tonight. And by the way, all of this is going to be based on Jeng being good. If Jeng is as good as he was the 2 games before the All-Star break throughout the rest of the year, the Bucks are certainly going to be a playoff team. They're about, a game and a half, I think, out of the play-in tournament right now. So they're sitting right there with every opportunity to get in and probably will. But either way, still having a first-round pick is a big deal. I saw this tweet. So you got DeBonsta from BYU, 24.8 a game, 0.8 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, almost 4 assists per game. Cam Boozer, 22.8 points, 10 boards, 4 assists. Darius Acuff, 22.3 points, 3 boards, 6 assists a game. Darren Peterson, 20 points, 3.5 boards a game, an assist and a half. Caleb Wilson, 19.8 points, 9.5 boards, 3 assists. Mikal Brown, he's been really playing well lately, 18.5 points, 3.5 boards, 5 assists a game. Nate Ament, Keaton Wagler, Kingston Flemings, Koa Pete. All these are studs at the top of this draft. Again, when I'm telling you, this is a special class. I swear on a stack of Bibles, I'm not making this up. And that is why you have so much of this going on. And to completely overreact to all of this because of the Jazz and some of these other teams doing what they want is fine. Then you got Matt Ishba, or Sheba, however you say his name, with the Phoenix Suns, the owner of the Phoenix Suns. He's all in an uproar. This is worse than prop betting. Shut up. What are you talking about? This is worse than prop betting. No, it's not. Absolutely not. They're trying to get the best player they can. Their season is over. They don't have a good enough team. They're trying to figure out how to get a superstar. Like Milwaukee, good luck finding superstars to sign in Utah. Ask Karl Malone and John Stockton how many followed them to Utah when they were over there trying to figure out how to beat Michael Jordan. It's not something that necessarily happens. I did learn this, though. Do you know who is primarily going to be responsible for whatever dumb rule they come up with?
No, I don't.
Besides the commissioner?
Who?
Mike Krzyzewski is front and center in all of this right now.
Why?
He's the guy that's in charge of all of this nonsense.
That just doesn't make sense to me.
He's a senior advisor to the NBA right now.
That's just because he's Mike Krzyzewski. Like, that's the only reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's nuts.
So here are some of the concepts that we are discussing with the NBA. Well, I'm not. They are. Okay. Restricting first-round pick protections to top 4 or top 14 plus selections. Okay. Freezing lottery odds at the trade deadline. You're welcome. I believe I said that on this show. Did I not?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we were on that one. Extending the lottery to include all play-in teams, which means if the Bucks get in at 9, right, now they are in the playoffs.
So if
the lottery,
that team were to go win an NBA championship, like, because
they could potentially have one.
No, they just don't have the play-in tournament, which you shouldn't have in the first place.
Next, basing lottery odds on 2-year records.
Okay, that's interesting.
So you got to tank for 2 years in order to have a shot at one.
And you're losing a lot of just revenue.
And you're still not guaranteed anything with a lottery.
At least like 1 year, you'll get fans at the beginning of the year. If you go into the second year of a tank, like nobody's going to show up even at the beginning of the
Look at the Sixers. They did it for several years. Additional proposals would bar teams from selecting in the top 4 in back-to-back years.
I don't like that. Because like there's some teams that are just bad.
Just
they really
bad?
are just bad.
Yes. Let's see. All right, so top 4 in back-to-back years, or part of that would be after consecutive bottom 3 finishes, obviously, or the season following a conference finals appearance. So if you go to the conference finals, you can't go into the top 4, apparently. Or if you have consecutive bottom 3 finishes in the league, even if you don't get into the top 4 on the lottery.
Again, that's another thing where it gets kind of weird because you look at a team like the Indiana Pacers who lose their star player this season in Tyrese Halliburton. They trade away Miles Turner because they don't feel like they can pay him for whatever reason. They don't feel like that. So they're just a bad team now. Like, again, that just is not by coincidence, but they're not trying to tank. They're just losing games. So why would you punish them for just being bad? Like, that doesn't make sense either.
I just think this is a complete overreaction to everything that's going on. I just do. And it's funny. We had Dr. Dave Margolis in here yesterday from Children's Wisconsin. And when we got off the air, him and I went back and forth about the tanking or not tanking thing. And I said the same thing that I say on the air. If Giannis leaves, how are you going to get somebody of a superstar quality to play in Milwaukee? Your only chance is to draft one. That's all you got. Nobody's coming here as a free agent. It's just not going to happen. Did you see now? I think it's Stephen A. Yeah, Stephen A. is on TV telling everybody that Steph Curry should probably get out of Golden State if, you know, they're not in a position to win a championship. If he's going to win another one, he probably should get out of there and leave. And then there's somebody else, I don't know who it is, some type of social influencer yelling at Chad Holmgren at the All-Star game or whatever it was about, hey, come play in LA or whatever.
Yeah, coming to the Lake Show. That's what he said.
No, man. No, not happening.
Well, and the Steph Curry one, again, that's just so stupid. That's just Stephen A. grasping at straws anywhere. This is a guy who's a 3-time NBA champion at this point, probably one of the top 10 greatest players of all time.
No, go ahead, rush him out. I'll take Steph in Milwaukee.
Yeah, but that's not where he wants him to go. You know that.
That's
you
right.
know that's not where he's begging for.
I understand, but how funny would that be?
That would be pretty cool. I'd be okay
LeBron and Steph both end up in Milwaukee with Giannis. That would be hilarious.
That would be so stupid.
I would be that would be the funniest thing ever. Right. Sharania, what are you going to talk about now, buddy? What are you going to talk about?
Maybe all 3 of them just go on a tour for each season then, just go to a different like bad team. They also all go to Utah for fun the next season. I'd be okay with that, you know.
That would be pretty funny. Charlie, use it over there. Steve Sparky Fiver here. Charlie, Sounds of the Day coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Happy Friday. Welcome back, Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fiber with you, Charlie Usen. Still to come 4 o'clock hour, Green and Gold update. Some interesting rumblings out there on X about Rasheed Walker. Free agency. We'll get into that at 4 o'clock. Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Make sure to get your nominations in for who you just want to be quiet, quit talking, make yourself not look so good. All you got to do to nominate somebody is use that talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Could be a host on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Could be somebody on TV, somebody on the radio, could be a player, could be really about anything you want it to be about. Anybody that you would like to see plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service that comes up every Friday at 4:20. And we'll do that again today at 4:20 as well. Follow the money. We're not going to be able to get to that today, so hopefully we can pick that back up. Austin Herdina has been on the longest vacation of anybody I've ever met in my life.
2 weeks. It's not that
Dude,
long.
I haven't been on a 2-week vacation since
It might only be a week.
2005 was the last time. And quick history, I'd already had the trip booked when I got hired at the station in Milwaukee where I currently am still. And I told them, I was like, already got a 2-week vacation planned in April. It's during the NFL draft. I'm just giving you the heads up now. I'm not canceling it. So if that's a deal breaker, just so you know. Yeah, that's fine. And that was the year that they drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, of course. So it started then. That's when your bad luck with all the big news started, right away at the beginning.
2005. I'll never forget it. Like, we were in Dothan, Alabama, and we were going to the Talladega race. That's why we were down there. And we were supposed to be on Orange Beach in Alabama, and Hurricane Ivan came whipping through. We had nowhere to stay when we got down there. Nowhere. So we were trying to figure out where we were going to stay. Found this place in like a gas station Burger King or something. And we went and checked out, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. We went back there again in the fall, too. And I was literally, had like this huge, like, it looked like a pool, but they had like bench seating on the inside of it, like a whirlpool. And they had whirlpool jets on the walls. So it was like a big pool that they turned into it, and it was natural hot springs water that was flowing into it. So there's not like a timer, like on off, like it's just always that temperature. And the part of the resort or whatever, they were outside doors or whatever. So literally the draft is going on in the first round. And I'd get out and I'd run over to the room and turn it on and be like, seeing what's going on. And I'd come back and I was like, Aaron Rodgers is still falling. Like, he's like 3 picks away. Like, this is unbelievable. They may end up with Aaron Rodgers. And when they did, I was like, holy cow, you got to be kidding me. I cannot, because that guy was projected to go potentially 1 with Alex Smith that year in the draft. That was the last time I had a 2-week vacation. When was the last time you took a 2-week vacation? Never.
Never, I don't think.
See? Thank you. It's just not common. I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm not being critical, but that's, to have a 2-week vacation is awesome.
You better come back with some nice ties.
Now, having said that, Austin Herdina works 1,000,000 hours.
That's
so
true too.
If anybody deserves a 2-week vacation, it's Austin Herdina. Okay, let's get to Charlie's segment.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie Usen, where are we going first?
I'm going to start off with the Sparky requests for the second day in a row because he's
Okay.
had some good ones lately. This is Chase Daniel, former NFL quarterback, listing his top 5 NFC quarterbacks. And you'll be, I guess, I don't think surprised where Jordan Love is, but maybe happy with where Jordan Love is.
Number 5. This one was the toughest one. It's between Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, all these guys. In my opinion, right now, it's Brock Purdy. Number 4, got to put him here, Jared Goff. Number 3, Jordan Love. Ceiling for him is so high, 3,700 passing yards, 27 passing touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. There's been some ups. There's been some downs through his career. I think he's trending up. Him and LaFleur, they can be dangerous. The Packers should be lucky to have him. He's their franchise quarterback.
Beautiful.
Number 2, Dak Prescott. Number 1,
no.
easy, Matthew Stafford. He's getting better with age.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
Fine with Stafford at 1. Dak Prescott versus Jordan Love. I think I take Jordan Love. Quickly, Ziggy was like, Sparky, there's no hurricanes in April. That can't be right. You're right. So the Hurricane was in November. We went for the fall race or whatever it was. And then we went back for the spring race, which is like the Mardi Gras in Talladega. Like Mardi Gras from the aspect of like, if you camp on the infield, there's beads and chicks taking off their tops and the whole deal. And drivers are drunk on golf carts riding around the infield on like Wednesday night. Yeah. So yes, you're right, Siggy. Thank you. So yeah, it was fall when the Hurricane hit. We loved it. Went back in the spring. And then that was when the draft went on. So there you go. Anyways, so this is something that I loved hearing from Chase Daniel because so many people, this Malik Willis thing, there's a great piece on CBS Sports breaking down Malik Willis. It is so long and so in depth, talking about strengths, weaknesses, potential gamble of taking him and all of this stuff. Then you read comments from people about Malik Willis versus Jordan Love and all of this other stuff. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not there. He literally said top 3, and I think you could argue all day long that you could take him in front of Dak Prescott. Maybe not Stafford, but probably in front of Dak Prescott at this moment in time as well. So definitely not debatable in my mind about this whole Love versus Malik Willis thing. Packer fans, I think, are harder on Jordan Love than anybody outside of Bears fans. Bears fans are the most critical of Jordan Love, followed closely by Packer fans.
Yeah, I would say so.
Crazy. And Bears fans just aren't smart enough to figure it out. They don't know what a good quarterback looks like. So that I understand. Hell, their team's going in Indiana possibly. So what more do you need to go?
So mean.
The Hammond Bears.
Oh, so dumb.
That's
so dumb.
I'd rather have them be in like Dubuque, Iowa. That would be
Iowa
fun.
too. No, it's stupid.
The Dubuque Bears.
It's all stupid.
Iowa deserves a pro team.
Also,
Iowa deserves a pro team. They should get an NFL team. I think they should. I think it's a good idea.
The Bears. Take the Colts.
Take the Colts. But that's the other thing, right? If the Bears go to Indiana, then the Colts should probably come over to the north at that point because that becomes their closest rival is the Colts. There's the Colts and Bears become rivals. Forget the Packer-Bear rivalry. Now it's 2 teams in the state of Indiana are the big rivals.
That would be so dumb. Well, at least the Bears would walk off with the win in the rivalry then, Sparky.
Yes, they would.
There you go. There's a win.
Totally agree with you on
Glass
that.
half full.
Yes. All right, go ahead.
The next 2 clips, well, I'm only going to play one of them. The other one I want to save for Plead the Fifth. I went back and forth which one I was going to put in one and the other. This one I feel like is less Plead the Fifth. This is Bill Self earlier today talking about Darren Peterson once again and what needs to happen to get rid of the narrative that Darren Peterson has created for himself.
He hasn't finished games.
Easy.
The reasons why they say he hasn't finished games is 100% false. So at least in 70 to 80% of the reasons why that with what they've said that I've heard. So I can't say 100% of everything would be false, but that's the narrative that's being put out there. But the bottom line is there is a way to change the narrative, play, finish. Now, if his body allows him to, fantastic. If it doesn't allow him to, then, they'll say something again the next game. But that's the way to get people to quit talking. It's not me saying it's not fair. I don't think that really keeps anybody from having an opinion on it at a national level or on this level or any level, to be quite candid. But I do think that, it's easy for everybody to say what's happening within a situation that really doesn't know the situation.
He still hasn't said the situation, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing. I'm not sure which one is worse. He's saying, well, the narrative that's out there isn't right, which is he's just not wanting to play a whole bunch and resting so he doesn't get hurt. So he's available for the draft lottery and so forth. That's the narrative. And if he's saying that's wrong, but then says if his body's not allowing him to, if you're saying physically he can't finish games because there's something that wrong, isn't that even worse than choosing not to play if there's something underlying here that nobody knows about?
Yeah, you're
I think that's even worse.
This is what we talk about with Matt LaFleur all the time, is that he just keeps letting these guys go out there and getting themselves hurt over and over again. And it's just, well, we had discussions about it, and this is what we came up with every single time. Shucks, this is what happens. I don't know. It just seems, again, like a cop-out answer instead of just saying, yeah, he's going to sit this next game because he isn't medically ready. Just say that. You can lie about that. Say, you know what? Hey, he's not feeling it. His body has been getting sore. He needs a rest day. We're giving him a rest day. Just
Sounds
say
like
that.
he needs a rest month.
Right.
Charlie, third clip of the day.
Last up, we're going to head over to the Seattle Seahawks, where Mike McDonald says an offensive coordinator doesn't need to have play calling history in his resume.
Oh, I saw this.
Going into it, I do think it's a bit overrated. Somebody at some point, all play callers have to be first-time play callers at some point. You could tell how like Brian thinks about the game. Look, you're gonna have to grow in any new role, but we have a lot of great people around here and a lot of great opportunities for him to get ready to go. And I'm really confident he's going to be off and running sooner than later. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be a fun process to build this thing.
Brian Flaherty is the guy that's the OC coming from San Francisco, where he learned under Kyle Shanahan for a couple of years. He used to be on the defensive side of the ball earlier in his career. It is obviously going to be a challenge. I don't think, as I've said this before, everybody is meant to call plays. Not everybody is meant to do that. There are a certain few that are really, really good at it, and others try to figure it out as they go. That's not to say Flaherty won't be good at it. We've never seen him do it. He's never done it. So there's no way to know if he's going to be good or bad at it. And if he ends up being really good, the Seahawks benefit for a couple of years, and then he's going to go be a head coach somewhere, and that'll be the end of that. And you'll have to figure out somebody else to put a coordinator.
Or he does bad, and you're in the same cycle that the Philadelphia Eagles find themselves in, where they keep flipping through coordinators, hoping that they can just find the right guy.
If he's bad, then Sam Darnold's going to be exposed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
He's had some good coaches for him.
That's what we're going to find out. Green and Gold Update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Up next, Rasheed Walker, topic du jour. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer here. Charlie Usen over there. Don't forget Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with Tommy Wirtz coming up tonight from 5 to 6 here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in, hour number 3, 4 o'clock hour. Here you are on a Friday. Fish fry Fridays are going to be so long. So long.
Yeah, I work them, like every one of them moving forward.
Because of Lent, that's why these Friday fish fries go crazy now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I work every single one for the next month.
It's crazy. Like there's one by the airport in Milwaukee called the Packing House.
Uh-huh.
And I swear to you, it's like at least a mile long of cars down Layton Avenue by the airport, like all the way down. People wait all night waiting in line to get that fish fry.
That's crazy.
There's one over here on Highway 100 by the radio station, Hales Corners. That corner one is called the Bosch, and that line will be down Highway 100. Same thing, waiting to get a fish fry.
I want to try their hot ham and rolls that they do on Sundays.
Yep.
I still haven't tried that yet, but they do the line outside for that too.
Yeah, and they do barbecue too.
Dude, people don't know we live in Wisconsin. Like every restaurant has fish fry dogs.
All year.
Like,
Does
it's
not
special,
matter.
So why do we have to line up all at one place to go get the same thing that you can get everywhere else?
Right. Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely a thing. No question. Yes. All right. Top of the 4 o'clock hour. We'll get to Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. If you want to still nominate anybody, you can. I see one host got nominated here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network in the last segment. You can still nominate somebody that you want to plead the fifth. Just quit talking. You're not helping yourself, right? Just quit. You're putting yourself in a bad position here with your opinion or your take on something. All you got to do is text it in 414-677-1250, or you can call it in during the segment itself at 420. So again, 414-677-1250.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, let's get to it. So I told you before that this had something to do with Rasheed Walker. And there is a tweet out by a a Twitter account or whatever, JPA Rumors it's called. And the rumor comes from Jeff Risdon, who covers the Lions and has the Lions podcast and is with Real GM, is on the air at 96.1 in Grand Rapids and so forth. And it says the Lions have been sniffing hard around the free agency offensive line class. And the picture is there of Rasheed Walker, who is going to be towards the top of that offensive tackle class coming up into free agency this year. My question is this: would losing Rasheed Walker to a team in the NFC North be a concern for you? Because the Packers are going with Jordan Morgan by all accounts. Nobody that I've heard from has said, Sparky, I think they're going to bring back Rasheed Walker. Just on the down low, I think they're bringing him back. I've not got that from anybody. Nobody. Everybody is of the assumption that he's out of here and he is leaving. Now, where he goes, I don't know where he goes. But the idea of him potentially in the NFC North, if we're being honest, for me personally, makes me kind of giddy. I'm good with it. Go ahead. Sign in Detroit. I think Rasheed Walker has been very solid for the Packers. So it's nothing personal against Rasheed Walker. But if I'm saying Micah Parsons versus Rasheed Walker, yeah, I'm in. Yeah. You want to go sign in Detroit, play for the Lions, be their left tackle? That's cool. I'll take Micah Parsons to beat you on a regular basis. Absolutely. No question about it. I'm in. You want to go play in Minnesota? You want to go play in Chicago? Whatever? Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, who doesn't think Micah Parsons isn't going to beat Rasheed Walker in that matchup? Now, they'll have to chip with a running back probably to have to help Rasheed Walker. Tight end to that side, double team to help double team Micah Parsons. But Rasheed Walker at left tackle on any of the teams in this division, I'm sorry, Charlie, it doesn't necessarily scare me at all. Go ahead. Go sign some monster contract for 5 years. Go play on that team.
No, I'm not worried about it. I think with Rasheed Walker, I think it probably benefits him more to try to go to a team, give himself that motivation, say the Packers didn't want me. Maybe that works for him. If I'm the Packers on the other side of things, go for it. Dude, you were exactly the same player for 3 straight seasons. You were really nice that rookie season where you came in and stepped up and were better than you were supposed to be. As a 7th round pick, you came in and were an immediate part of that offensive line. And then you just didn't get better. You just stayed the same for 3 whole seasons. And when you have other players like Jordan Morgan, who showed a little bit of promise at that tackle position at the end of the season, you maybe want to give him a shot there too. And if I'm Rasheed Walker, yeah, I take that as motivation. I say, you know what? I at least was consistent. I didn't get worse per se. I was just who I was. And maybe I can go and get better somewhere else and use that motivation of them drafting this guy in the first round as to be a replacement to me. That's where I'm going to grab that motivation. If I'm the Packers, not scared of that.
I just Googled Rasheed Walker's projected contract. The projected contract, that the first thing that came up was 4 years at around $81 to $82 million. So an average of $20 to $21 million. Market ranking top 15 in the class.
That's nuts. That's way too high.
So you're not doing that?
No. I mean, if you're like, that's because he's got to be one of the only left tackles in the class. And that's part of the reason the Jaguars locked up Little at the end of the season there to give him that contract because they knew they didn't want him going to market because there's not better players. But just because there's not better players doesn't mean you deserve to get paid that much money.
I'll give you another one. Cleveland's entire offensive line are free agents. All 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in a position of having nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to spend money of some sort here in order to fill out that offensive line. So Rasheed Walker to Cleveland would make sense. The Patriots, that's another team that could potentially make sense as well. Just saying, like, when you start talking about offensive tackles, he doesn't have to be all pro to be worth $20 million. If he's just good, right? If he's just a good tackle, he probably is worth $20 million at the end of the day. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. Would losing Rasheed Walker to a team in the NFC North be of a concern to you? You can also comment in the Dugout YouTube chat or on X as we live stream at WI Sports Radio. Justin in Watertown, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Justin?
Sparky, every single Packers fan, every single radio host that talks Packers needs to be talking up Walker as much as they can to make the Lions say, we need this guy.
Right.
Because he needs to go there immediately. Because in our first game, Van Ness will have 4 sacks. It'll be amazing. And the Packers will be like, oh, man, you guys got him, not fair. And then we're going to crush him.
Right. Yes, I agree.
am not a fan of Walker in any way. I think he's awful.
Thanks for the call. I don't think he's awful. Look up his Pro Football Focus grade, would you? I don't think Rasheed Walker is awful. Did he have maybe a down year this year compared to?
I remember looking at it. He's pretty identical year to year.
Good. Okay, so call it up and let's see what Rasheed Walker's number is. When we were talking to Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press Gazette, Packers beat writer, he went through and he did grading on every position group. Today, in fact, he has the safeties group out that he graded. You can go back and listen to that interview from Tuesday. It was. Just go to Best Packers Coverage if you want and search it wherever you download your favorite podcast, or right there, wisportsradio.com. You can go Best Packers Coverage. You can look for Wisconsin Sports Daily. All of that works. And Ryan Wood goes over the entire offensive line with me. It's really good. All right, go ahead.
His rookie year, 66.3 offensive grade. His sophomore year, 68.7. He did take a dip this year to a 63, but that's not an egregious dip. That's all in the same range of player.
Yeah, he went, like I said, he didn't have as good of a year probably this year as he had last year. And remember, coming into this year, Jordan Morgan was playing left tackle through camp. Like, there was talk that was going to happen. And remember, Rasheed Walker was hurt. And that's why Jordan Morgan got to have all of those reps. And then once we got close to the season starting, they had injuries, obviously, Zach Tom and others. And then Elton Jenkins went down, and then Jordan Morgan got forced into going to play right guard at that moment in time because then Ryan had to get moved to center. So with all of that being said, he didn't necessarily have his best year. But because of the lack of quality tackles in this free agent class, he's going to get paid because there's not a lot of Pro Bowl left tackles. Not that he is one, but There aren't guys like that in this class that are going to go over him when you start talking about who these guys are going to sign. Like we mentioned earlier, when you're a bad franchise like the Browns, you have to build a line. All 5 of your guys are free agents. Like, you're going to have to sign guys probably over market value to bring them in.
Looking at other guys in this left tackle class, just in case you were looking for a kind of view of what it looks like. Cam Robinson, like you said, from Cleveland, their whole O-line is leaving. He's 30 years old. Kelvin Beachum is probably like career-wise the best overall player, but he's 37 years old by the time he's going to get signed. He's in this class. DJ Humphreys, and then a bunch of players you've probably never heard of. Joseph Noteboom is in this one. He had a pretty good season with LA a few years ago, but then hasn't been the same player since then. And then Rasheed Walker down at the bottom. A bunch of backups and Rasheed Walker down at the bottom.
Correct. Even if you think Rasheed Walker is a swing tackle, I don't think you can even go there because he really hasn't played right tackle. So you can't even say he's a swing at this point because he doesn't have a lot of reps at the right tackle. He is strictly a left tackle at this point. He doesn't have reps at the guard position. So if you're a team coming in and wanting to sign him, it has to only be for that. Now, if and when Jordan Morgan gets to free agency, there's a lot more tape to go off of. Sean Ryan's heading to free agency. He's got tape to go off of in multiple different positions on the offensive line. If you go back to David Bakhtiari back in the day, he had one position. He played left tackle. That's what he did. That's what he was great at. And now you're going to have Jordan Morgan coming in and getting his shot at left tackle. And for the love of God, please let him be good. Please, please, please don't let him stink. I beg of you, don't let him stink. When Ryan Wood was on here earlier this week, he's like, Jordan Morgan wasn't as bad at right guard as everybody made him out to be when you go back and actually watch the film. Like, there were some pretty good stretches where he was okay at guard. But everybody agrees that he is definitely the left tackle. Like, they're not going to have – I would be surprised if they had legit competition for Jordan Morgan at left tackle. They're going to let him take every rep and do his thing and then see what happens. Do they take a tackle? Yeah, they'll probably take a tackle. I don't know, 3rd round, 4th round, something like that. But that's going to be insurance as a swing tackle because Zach Tom can't stay healthy.
So if at any point during training camp there is reports of some kind of left tackle battle going on, is that a problem? Like, are you going to be worried about the season?
Hell yes. Forward? Because who are they going to have as potential competition? Escalade?
Travis Glover, if he's healthy.
No. So it's going to be Belton and him if you want. But right now, the way it sits, if they bring back Ryan, he's the starting center. And then Belton's at right guard and Zach Tom's at right tackle. That's the right side. And the left side then becomes Banks and Jordan Morgan. Does that sound great on paper? Nope. Will it work?
Could be worse. Yeah.
Don't know. I don't know if it's going to work or not. But Sean Ryan has that nasty at center that you like when you're talking about run blocking. Belton is a mass of a human being, which you want and has a little bit of nasty to him as well. So I like that, providing he can get a ton of reps. Remember, they wasted him at tackle reps last year in training camp. I screamed about that too. It said, what are we doing? He should be battling at right guard, not at right tackle. And of course, they didn't want to do that. So then at the end of the year, they had to put him in at right guard because Jordan Morgan, again, regardless of what Ryan Wood said, didn't appear to be good enough. And then they put Belton in at right guard. And Belton also had his mistakes along the way at the end. But that has to be your starting 5. Unless they draft they draft a guard or a center early in this draft, then maybe that person walks into a starting role. But otherwise, I think they have to sign Ryan back to center if they can, and then let the rest of this play out as we go here and hope you can have better health.
Well, and I think this draft class so far has seemed like it's going to be a little bit of a stronger interior offensive line class too. So that's something that maybe the Packers could get with their second pick and put a little bit of a wrench in things. At the same time, last season, one of the biggest problems with the offensive line was the inconsistency you had with which group was going out there every single drive. The year before that, you only had one game where you started that game with somebody out, and that was one position. That was it. Elton Jenkins moved over to center, and it worked out all right. This is something where you want to have the same 5 guys going into the season, hope that you can keep them throughout the season, and you don't want to expect any kind of competition going into training camp.
That'll do it for the Green and Gold update, brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Again, that's where you're going to want to be for all the tournaments that are coming up. There's plenty of tournaments coming up. Plus, you got the end of the regular season. as well with college basketball. You've got the NBA going back again after the All-Star break, so you got that to focus on. Spring training baseball got underway today. Two Cubs played the White Sox today. I'm not sure the final of that game, but they got underway playing
White
today.
Sox were winning 4-1 last time I looked.
Look at you paying attention to spring training baseball. Brewers' first spring training game is tomorrow, so baseball is getting going. Potawatomi Sportsbook, baby. Best place to be. 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, 2,000 square foot center screen with over 30 sporting events at one time, 2 levels to go along with it. Reserve your seat online. I'm telling you, that's the best way to guarantee yourself a spot to watch these games. Go to Potawatomi.com to reserve your seat today. Again, Potawatomi.com to reserve your seat today. Coming up next, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. If there's somebody you want to tell shh to, here is your time. Could be a host on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Could be a TV person, another different radio person, could be a player, literally anybody. It doesn't matter to me. You could tell me to plead the fifth on something. That's fine. Let's roll. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Or you can leave it on the Dugout YouTube chat as well, or on X at WI Sports Radio. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Sparky here. Charlie Using over there. Other side of the glass. It is Friday. And because it's Friday, and because I guess it's technically 4:23, but yeah, close enough. Close enough. Here we go.
It's a Plead the Fifth Friday, sponsored by Habish and Rotier. Who should have just kept their mouth shut? Who made a bad decision commenting on a topic they shouldn't have? Let's hear who you think should plead the fifth this week on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Here we go. Plead the fifth time, baby. It is that time to see who gets told to shh. Let's go. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Nominate whoever you would like. And let's see how we go. I'd love to have like a bunch of callers on this and so forth. We haven't had a ton of caller interaction on this segment, but I'd like to get to that point where every Friday, people are being told to shh, plead the fifth. That's where we'd like to get to. All right, Charlie, you've been keeping track of stuff throughout the week. What do you got?
For sure. So a couple of days ago, we had a caller text in. He wanted to put the Boston Red Sox on plead the fifth for the way that they've handled their jersey situation with Fanatics. Fanatics has been all over Twitter recently. People hate the way they've been doing these professional jerseys, which understandable. They do not look good. The quality has definitely gone down, and they definitely marked up the price for fans trying to get these jerseys. The Boston Red Sox, this is the first post that they put out. This is on their official account. As part of Major League Baseball's return to the 2023 jersey template, we approved a design for our home white jerseys that once produced and seen in person, we felt could be cleaner in the spacing between the lettering and piping. In collaboration with MLB and Fanatics, we're adjusting the home whites to restore clearer separation. The updated jerseys will be ready for opening day. And then they came out later on, a few days later, saying that they basically didn't blame Fanatics for this situation. They changed the wording around. They said this is something where their design team just messed it up. This was in a different report that came, or not report, but the newsletter that they put out, saying that it was not Fanatics' fault. It's all good. It's all okay. People are really upset with the Red Sox right now because of the way they're handling this. They were supposed to be the first team that was supposed to clap back at Fanatics for the fan bases, and then they just retracted everything.
So listen, for those of you that don't understand how this works, it's not that hard. There's a lot of money exchanged to win that bid to do the jerseys. There just is. And you do not want, if you are Rob Manfred, any owner or any organization running roughshod over a deal that you cut in the end of the day. You can't have it. Can't have it. Just like, for instance, if there's a big sponsor or whatever the case may be on a talk show or a TV show, right? So like you're watching HGTV or whatever, and like Home Goods Store is one of the sponsors or whatever. You don't want to hear one of your actors or actresses on some national stage. Man, Home Goods, they're a sponsor, but man, I was just in the other day. Let me tell you what happened. And it's some negative stuff. You just cringe. You're like, oh my God, what are you doing? Shut up. Like, you don't need to be talking about that out loud. We don't want to waste our money with our sponsor that we have with HGTV or whatever. By the way, I love Home Goods, but that's kind of the same thing here with them. You don't want to ruin relationships and cost yourself money,
I guess. But and this is, I guess, somebody a little younger, a little bit more naive in this situation. But I mean, to some degree, it's nice to know that that person is actually going to Home Goods, that this person is trying to say that there's a standard that maybe they should set. Like, you can look at it positively and spin it positively if you want to as a company, and maybe increase your profits by saying, yeah, we messed up and we're going to fix that and we're going to be better and move on from here. Instead, you just force these other companies to listen to you and ignore the problem that's right in front of everybody that you acknowledged already. That's weird, man.
How long is that deal between Fanatics in Major League Baseball? Because when this deal is done, if Major League Baseball does not break away from Fanatics, I would be really, really surprised. Really, really surprised at this point. Really would be.
See, I'm looking through here. This is such a long article. Do they not say anywhere where? it's supposed to generate roughly $2 billion by 2045. So it's apparently lasting at least that long.
$2 billion by what?
2045 is their expected profit on this.
Another 20 years
So
in
at
this
least that long,
agreement?
yeah.
You've got to be kidding me. Why in the world would you sign a deal that long for? That doesn't make any sense. Like a 5-year deal. Hell, 10 years. You signed a 20-plus year deal?
So according to the memo, Fanatics deal with MLB and MLBPA is more than 10 times larger than any the union has ever agreed to. So it's just a ton of money and a ton of time on that.
That is wild. Absolutely wild. Okay, what else you got?
All right. So next up here in the text chain as well, we head over to the 262. He says Rumdog, which I'm assuming is Rami.
9 to noon weekdays. Yeah.
He says needs to shut up about the Bears and the Cubs and not watching the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, I can't do nothing about that. I will say this. I do feel bad for Rami to a certain degree because I seemingly every day, people just kind of toss his opinion aside because of his fandom for the Chicago teams. They're always kind of taking their shots, and he's having to defend himself. This has nothing to do with fan with Chicago. Just my take on this, whatever. I swear to you, every day, at least once a show, sometimes more than that, he's got to sit there and convince people that it has nothing to do with who he roots for. It's just his opinion on a topic.
Well, I think sometimes, he wears what he's rooting for all the time. So it's always
fine.
on his chest, always on his
That's
sleeve.
fine being a fan. You could be a fan.
I get it. But then when you're putting yourself out there that much, you got to expect those type of people to come back at you.
Yes.
I'm a Chicago fan too, but I don't know. I feel like not as many people come at me for that type of stuff.
No, but we don't talk about it as much as they do on the other show. But that's the difference. They choose to put it out there every day.
Again, he's putting himself out there with it.
It's a little crazy for me. Okay, so those are two of the main ones that are out there. I'm a little bit leery, I guess you could say, of this ABS system that is coming to Major League Baseball. And Tommy Wirtz has been talking about this nonstop since this whole thing got announced of telling you people are going to hate this. People are going to complain about it. Like they don't understand what this is going to be. But I think fans are going to get really irritated by it when they're going to the games or whatever of how this whole thing kind of slows the game down and with the challenges and everything else. You worked so hard to figure this out and quicken the game up with the pitch clock now that you've got going and everything else. Then you increased or try to increase the excitement level, making the bases bigger. Stolen bases have gone up. It's become more of an exciting game of Major League Baseball. You're finally going in the right direction. You might crash into a wall after this year with the CBA dispute. But right now, it's full steam ahead. And you're just going to be straight up honest. I've not been to a minor league game where this has been used. So I don't have experience of knowing what this looks like. He's been around it a lot. I haven't. But if this were to slow the game down, that's going to be a big, big problem. Because if you were eliminating a position, if you were eliminating an umpire, and you're saying, okay, we're getting rid of one umpire, we're saving money across the board here, that's why we're putting it in. It's going to call every ball and every strike, and we're going to be set. Okay, it's cost cutting, I guess, if the league is hurting for money or whatever. Okay, fine. I guess
a really bad look though if you're
sure
doing
it is.
Like that's
well, I understand.
Shark in the water
but
type stuff.
But they're not hurting for money, is my point. So they're not cost saving on this. They're spending a crazy amount of money to put the system into all the different ballparks around baseball. The idea behind this is to make it more factual and less opinionated on what an umpire is calling. Because back in the days, those star pitchers, Glavine and Max, get a couple of inches on either side of the plate that they would call strikes because they were respected and we're going to call it. If you're some rookie like Jacob Mizorowski, you get nothing. You have to throw actual strikes. So now they're pretty much saying no more star treatment for pitchers. We're going to take that out. Angel Hernandez. How many games did Angel Hernandez have fan bases yelling and screaming for him to be fired?
He's ever umped in his
right.
entire career.
People screaming and yelling for him to be fired. So now you take that out of his hands and everybody else's hands who may struggle behind the plate and put it in the place of the computer. So they're hoping that this makes it more accurate, I guess, kind of going forward for Major League Baseball. But if it slows the game down by 20 minutes, is it worth it? If you give back the 20 minutes to a half hour that you've taken and shaved off the game, and we're back to 3-hour games again, is it going to be worth it at the end? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question necessarily, but I got a feeling there's going to be more people angry that the game is long again than there's going to be happy that they got balls and strikes right.
I mean, in my mind, I guess I'm just not seeing this as big of an issue. Like, I think from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it should be pretty simple to see whether the ball was a ball or strike and then just relay it down to the umpire for him to make that call. And it's not on every single pitch. It's on whether the pitcher or catcher decides to challenge that call. Like, that's what is, or the batter in some situations too. It's whether these guys want to challenge it, and you don't get to challenge every single pitch. It's not going to be that.
Right.
Some guys like Chris Sale, I don't know how much I believe him. So he's not going to use it. He's probably not going to use it as often as some other guys. And I think there's going to be some other pitchers, some other players that maybe are more hesitant to use it in more.
It's going to be the catchers using it.
Situations. Exactly. And I think that a lot of these catchers have worked so much on framing that it's going to be maybe even hard for them to decide whether a ball is a ball or a strike. So they're going to make wrong decisions, which is going to make guys more hesitant to use it then at that point too. I think they're going to find this medium. And I think that the MLB and Rob Manfred have done a really good job of shaving off that time, like you've mentioned. And it's been a lot of time. Like, it was a huge change. Just going to a game, it really is from 3.5 hours to 2 hours sometimes, depending on how quick these games go. I think you can sacrifice an extra 20 to 30 minutes if it does end up taking that long. And I don't think it will end up taking that long to get back into this rhythm. And I think people will end up being okay with it. I think we're just freaking out right now.
If we look at average game times, the highest it ever was in Major League Baseball was 2021 when it's at 3 hours and 10 minutes. Then they put the pitch clock in. In 2023, it went down to 2 hours and 39 minutes to 2 hour and 40 minutes. In 2024, it was 2 hours and 36 minutes to 2 hours and 38 minutes. And then in 2025, it was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
So that's what I'm saying. If you go back to 305 or somewhere in that area, you can get rid of that damn thing, pull it out of the stadium, because I don't want it. I don't want the games being that much longer.
It's going to get to
not interested. Back to the talk and text line. You can also hop aboard here. Again, Plead the Fifth, brought to you by Habish and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service, 13 locations across the state of Wisconsin, regardless of where you may be listening to the game out there in Wausau, or WNFL in Green Bay or Appleton, locations all over the place. I don't think they have a location in Duluth Superior where the game is there in Duluth Superior. So that might be the one location where you may not have one yet. Not yet. They're coming. Eventually, they're going to just be in every city across the state of Wisconsin. It's going to happen. Been around since 1930. It's destined to happen. Back to the talk and text line of who needs to plead the fifth. I don't know who this is, but this person said, Tommy Wirtz needs to get over the idea that he would win if he was on Survivor. I saw him the other night, and he wouldn't shut up about it.
There's no shot he would win Survivor, dude. I 100% agree with this person. I don't believe.
Has he ever said that to you?
No, but I could believe him saying this.
Was he drinking, though?
Probably.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
See, he had to be inebriated. There's no way in his right mind.
Do you think Tommy could win Survivor?
Hell no. No chance. No way.
He's too emotional. I think he talks too much.
Now listen, he's in way better shape and all that, but there's no chance he'd win.
It's all about like kind of the mentality too in Survivor, and I think Tommy is just too helpful to some people. I think some people will take advantage of him. I think he talks too much.
No, I think he could be ruthless.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't think in the same kind of like slimy way that some of these other people will like do. I don't think Tommy could do that.
What do you think is the toughest part of that show? Is it the physical? Is it the mental? What is it?
I think it depends where you're at, because it's on like all these different locations. I think some places like in the hot, I would suck. I would not be able to be in like one of the desert or like the beaches. But like in the cold places, I think I could do really well physically in those ones. I think it's probably like just overall the mental game, like getting in people's heads, trying to get people to side with you, and then turning on those people right away. That's got to be like take a toll on you a little bit.
Yes. I think that's the mental aspect. I think that's the toughest thing, regardless of any type of those deals. I think it's all about getting yourself past the mental thing. I did a thing years ago. I was asked to host Halloween. They had Halloween, like a Halloween game show at Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois, right? And they have a very cool deal that they do for Halloween every year at Six Flags. So like, hey, the guy that normally did it couldn't do it. So I get asked in the building, hey, would you be up for doing this or whatever? What am I doing? You're like hosting a game show. It's outside. It's on a stage. They do a bunch of gross stuff. You're like the MC and try and convince people to come up and win money or whatever. Cool. I'm telling you, man, like eating like bugs and ants and putting your hands in stuff and all of this. Like some of those people that would get up on stage with me were like, cool, whatever, just do it, but whatever. Other people were like shaking, but they wanted the opportunity to win the money or whatever the case was, and they tried to get themselves through it. Other people would get up there, freak out, and walk off the stage and be like, I'm not doing that anymore.
I think I can do the gross stuff. I think the gross stuff's all right, like eating a cricket or something. Like, I've done that before already. They're not that bad, especially if they got the seasoned ones. But like being in confined spaces, being buried alive, like some of those challenges they have sometimes, I would not be good with that.
Here's one from the 715. Sparky, the Brewers gained a half an hour by starting all games at 6:40 instead of 7:10. I personally think it was a bunch of bull crap for MLB to find the necessity to speed up the games anyway. Wait a second. You want to explain this? You want me to explain it?
You can explain it.
The start time at 6:40 does not mean the game is already going 30 minutes quicker. It just means you get out of there 30 minutes earlier, right? So that doesn't mean the game. So now you get out of there at, say, 9:40 if it's 3 hours versus after 10 o'clock. I understand that. This isn't about what time you leave the stadium. That's not what this is about. The reason they did it was because of Charlie and Tommy and these other guys in their 20s that have no chance of wanting to sit through anything for very long. Like, think about it from this perspective. Sports Center. That used to be where we would all watch for our highlights from the night before, right? Because even though there was the internet or whatever, you still didn't get what you got on Sports Center and the entertaining anchors and all of that stuff. You want to know what people do nowadays? They hop on TikTok or Instagram and look at highlights put together by some random person making a bunch of money by them flipping through it. And that's how they watch it. Watching full games? They don't do it. They don't do it. High school kids, college kids, they're not watching full games, folks. They're not doing it. So now what you're having is Rob Manfred of Major League Baseball said, how do I get them to be more involved? How can I make it a quicker pace and more up-tempo to get them to watch more of the game, right? Whether it be coming to the game and watching the game while they're there, paying more attention to it, whether it be at home, listening to or watching it on TV or whatever. They're trying to appease to the younger audience. This isn't for the old people. Old people have been watching 3-hour games their whole life. We're watching regardless of how long it is, right? They're trying to get it to the point where they can get that next generation to fall in love with the game of baseball the way we have through our childhood.
I will say, though, I think that by doing that, they've really sacrificed the, again, in-person experience. I think starting the games at 6:40, a lot of people my age are working until 6 o'clock. It's hard to get out to those games. And then the game's flying by, too. Like, yeah, listening and watching it, it makes it easier for that. And I definitely do get into the games a little bit easier because of that. But trying to get out to that experience, trying to get out to the ballpark becomes a little bit harder for that type of thing because you started the games a little earlier and you're speeding them up. And then it's over by the time you get there. It's the fourth inning by the time you get there.
I really hope I'm alive to see them actually do something around that stadium. Like put in bars and restaurants.
Say they're going to, like, every year.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I hope I get to see what that looks like, right? Their version of Titletown District. Or their version of what Wrigley has or whatever the case may be at some point here. But if they get to that point, I then want to see what it means for game times, right? Because now if I've got full restaurants, right? Let's say I got a steakhouse, I got a couple of sports bars and all of that. Instead of it being a 6:40 start time, is it now all of a sudden a 5 o'clock start time or a 5:15 start time? And now people at the game are making reservations at the steakhouse, for 8 o'clock to walk over, leave their car parked, walk over and have a dinner and then heading home from that standpoint. Because then now you're working together. Now you're working to make all of this make sense, right? Or you push the game back and now it's 7:30 start times and so forth. But the reason they're not going to do that, in case you're thinking that way, they want to take care of the families with kids and get their kids home in bed in time. Because the later you start, the less chance you have of parents bringing kids to the baseball game. Promise. Or Bucks games. Marquette game the other night started at 8 o'clock. I'm not bringing my kid out at 8 o'clock on a school night for a tip. There's no chance. So what do you have? You have a bunch of adults and retirees and whatever else. They're going to go to the game and hang out and watch the game. Weeknight Admirals games. Talked about that. What is that? That's normally a lot of more retired people and so forth that are at those games. So you're trying to figure out, how can I make it a start time to where I can get families and kids there? I think 6 o'clock start times will happen eventually in Milwaukee, especially through the first couple of months when you have kids still in school, because now you're out of that, or you're out of the stadium by 8:30 or whatever the case may be. Now that's not too bad. I can still have the kids in bed if you're within a half hour, whatever, by 9 or 9:30. But when you don't walk out of the stadium until 9:30, 10 o'clock, now they're going to go to bed at 11, and they got to be on the bus the next morning at 7:30 or whatever the case may be. Now there's a lot more families going, yeah, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Maybe during like that school time, like you're saying, you move it up a little bit, and then during the summer you move it back down.
Correct.
And then, so that you get my people, the younger people that are out for summer and stuff, want to go out to the games,
because
get
then
off work, go there. Yeah.
And then it doesn't mean as much because kids don't have school the next day. So it's exactly correct.
Too.
Right. And then when you get back into
a lot of shuffling game times, though.
Oh, they shuffle game times all the time. But then when you get back into September, then those game times move back up again. Right. And that's what you're trying to do. 715, those younger fans aren't going to be generational anyway, like the 50-plus-year-old fans are. I'm not making that blanket statement. You could be right. 715, they might not be generational fans at any point.
Technically, I'm a 20-year Brewer fan. My first game was when I was like 4 years old. I've been going to Brewers games ever since. I mean, it's getting there, man.
So you think you're in for the long term?
I think so, yeah. Always cheer on the Brewers, man.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Coming up next, things Sparky missed here on a Friday. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hope you all are well. Coming up 5 to 6, it's going to be Tommy Wirtz with Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up. If you missed Tim Allen, Tommy Wirtz last night, Hot Stove Weekly, got to go back and listen to that. Jared Koenig was on. He came on right after the Pat Murphy extension news broke, which was perfect. So they talked to him about Pat Murphy a little bit and his, not extension, his new contract. I got to say that correctly. His new contract, 2 years, the option for the third year. So that keeps him here for the next 3 years and potentially 4 years. New money coming in at just under $9 million, as I said earlier in the show. That was kind of disappointing. I thought he deserved more money than that. So they also had The Miz on, Jacob Mizorowski. They had Jeff Levering on. So lots of good stuff last night with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz. Will be back on again this Thursday night from 5 to 7 as well.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, things that we missed today. Big news. I think it's significantly big news. This came out earlier today. Wisconsin lawmakers are taking a serious step towards legalizing statewide online sports betting. The Badger State's Assembly voted Thursday to pass without debate on a voice vote AB 601 legislation that would make a small but significant tweak to authorize mobile sports wagering via Native American gaming tribes. That's a big deal. AB 601 will now head to Senate, which was already considering similar legislation, and could now pass the Assembly version and send it to the desk of Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers to be signed into law. That would be a big deal. Now, again, it would permit online sports betting in Wisconsin through Native American tribes that have gaming compact agreements with the state. Updated gaming compacts between the tribes and the state would still need to be agreed to and then approved by the federal government before any launch could occur.
Do you think that could eventually make any change to like what national or global sports betting brands can work in Wisconsin? Would they
potentially
limit that to like they do the casinos?
Potentially at some point.
That'd be pretty interesting.
I mean, if we're being honest, Wisconsin is behind across the board on that.
Right, in general, yeah.
They're behind. I mean, Illinois has been doing it, and they're raking in a ton of money.
But if Wisconsin continues to promote, again, the Native American casinos and sports books and everything like that, I think that lends to kind of a better message than just letting anybody come in and do it.
Correct. Yes. No, I absolutely agree with you on that. The U.S. men's hockey team will play for the championship. They won today. What was it? 6-2, 6-3?
6-2.
Yeah. So they'll play for the championship coming up on Sunday. When I looked up at the screen in the break, I was like, oh, 7 o'clock Sunday night. Cool. Set the DVR, Charlie, so we have the highlights. No, it's 7 a.m. Sunday morning on NBC. You get to watch the gold medal game between the U.S. and Canada. It's going to be a heck of a matchup. I mean, we know that.
I mean, the women's matchup was awesome.
And they just won gold. They were they were down 1-0 during a majority of that game yesterday, headed down here in the studio.
Came all the way back. It was awesome.
Yeah.
What a great matchup. This is going to be just as good. I say get up 7 a.m. for it. It should be great.
Yeah, it should be. Or just DVR it.
I guess, but that's lame, Sparky.
Dude, I'm sleeping in on Sunday, man. I'm not getting up. I promise you I'm not watching that game at 7 a.m. I'll DVR it. I'll watch it later, right? But I don't think that means I'm getting up at 6:45.
Don't your kids or the dog get you up that early anyways?
Nope. When we sleep in, we all sleep in. Everybody understands. Everybody sleeps in. Ain't nobody getting up before 7 a.m. in our house on a Sunday morning. No chance. And then, we go to mass, that's 10 o'clock. So still not getting up at 7 a.m. Go to mass, you're getting up at 8, 8:30, maybe, something
Just
like
get up
that.
the extra hour early, dude.
No, I'm not.
Lame.
No
pride.
Fine, whatever. Don't care. I'll watch it later. I'm not anti-Olympics like Rami. I've watched plenty. Watched a bunch of people fall on their skates for the entire Winter Olympics. It's got to be, I don't know. We'll talk about this next week. But to me, the Olympics are the best of the best, right? You see so many people falling constantly. Figure skating, speed skating.
Rolling around on ice and snow. Are you kidding me?
All over the place.
I fall every time I take a step on ice.
Could you imagine?
These guys are on skates and blazes. That's crazy. That's a hot.
No, it's
Plead
not.
the fifth,
no, don't plead the fifth on the way out. Habish and Roots here. That'll do it for a Friday edition. Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Have a good weekend.